Prologue. Sister. How are your university exams going? AAA. Pretty well. Mum's pregnant, I heard. How do you feel about that? Obviously, I'm happy. I'm going to love that little one. What do you want it to be? A girl or a boy? A girl. But if it's a boy, I'll love him just the same. Now, don't change the subject. How are your exams going? Fine, Larouse. Don't worry about me. Tell me about you. How are things with the boys? Is there anyone you like? No. But forget about me. Tell me what the meteorite that fell near your school looked like. Well, it was a rock. Seriously? Just a rock? Yeah. A rock. What else do you want me to say, Larouse? I'm only studying this because Dad arranged it for me. It's a privilege. I know, but doesn't it make you even a little curious? I don't have to like it. I just have to be efficient and perfect. Well, you are. Do you know where I'm doing my internship? At Area 51. Dad told you, didn't he? Obviously. Will you invite me? For my graduation party. There's a lake nearby, and I'm going with some of my friends. What do you think? Yes. Sandra's graduation day. You're dismissed. Sandra. Sandra. Let me take a picture. After several photos. Mum, Dad, can I take Larouse to my graduation party? I promise I'll look after her. Oh, sweetheart, your sister beat you to it. She's been begging us for permission all these months. Go ahead, and take care of her. Hey, we're going to Area 51. Larouse, take it easy. And Sandra, look after her. You know how she gets when she's excited. Yes, Dad. We're heading out now. I'll never forget the way there. Ha 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 ha. We're here. That afternoon, the setting sun cast a peaceful glow over the magnificent lake. While my sister drank and celebrated, I took thousands of pictures. I also took some with my sister and her friends, and had the occasional glass of tequila with lime. A call from Dad. Dad. Larouse, where's your sister? She isn't answering, and this is important. Tell her her brother has been born. You both need to come to the hospital. It's an hour away from where you're staying. Okay, Dad. We're on our way. Sandra. Sandra. San. Ah, sorry. Larouse, why didn't you knock? What do you want? Mum had the baby. Right now? Yes. Where's the hospital? Dad said it's an hour away from here. Okay. Let me get dressed so we can go. Hey, who's that? Who? That guy. No one. Come on, let me get dressed. 1 hour later. Hello, little one. So you're going to be my beautiful baby brother. Huh. He's got Dad's face. Oh, don't be rude, Sandra. Actually, no, that's not true. The baby just looks like, well, a newborn baby. Dad, can I go back? I was supposed to stay with you until Monday, but it's only Saturday. But your brother was born. I know. I asked to see him next week, Daddy. But I don't know if I'll ever see my friends again. Angela is going to London, Giovanna is going to the United States, and I'm getting a job here. So please, let me say goodbye to the people I may never see again. She didn't know it yet, but she would never see her friends again, not even in this realm. Before she could leave, the news had already issued a warning. While we were getting ready to leave, she sat slumped in a chair in the waiting room, crying as she watched the television. Confused by her reaction, my father walked over to her. My mother and I stayed where we were, watching the broadcast. 5 bodies have been reported at a hotel near Argentina's Great Lake. During the early hours of the morning, emergency services received a rather strange call. Here are the details. Help. There's a monster. Young man, did you say a monster? Yes. I know it doesn't make any sense, but it's gigantic. It has the face of an animal, but the body of a human. Please, come help us. Static. A street. Help. Sandra. Go. Go. M. I. N. G. F. O. Y. U. As you've heard, viewers, this young man sent a message to Sandra, who had left because her mother was at the hospital that day, giving birth to her baby brother, but that wasn't all. The bodies that were found had suffered severe contusions across their bodies. And the most tragic part is that they had simply come to our Great Lake to celebrate their graduation, the golden years. Sandra, you have to eat. My boyfriend died, and in a week I'm leaving for work. How the hell do you expect me to eat? Hey, hey, hey. What's your tone? You know you can count on me. If you need another month, or another year, I'll make sure you have it. You're not alone. You'd really do that, Dad? Yes. Now apologize to your sister and eat. I'm sorry, Laroos. Apology accepted. Now eat. She spent an entire year without wanting to do anything, but no one pressured her. In time, Emilio became a great blessing who brought happiness back into our home. His first steps, his first words, and his baby giggles helped Sandra heal through what I called the baby effect, that special feeling babies can bring when you're sad. Whenever Sandra was having a bad day, I would intentionally carry Emilio over to her so he could see her and make her laugh, or at least put a smile on her face, and it worked. This is the version of Laroos I wanted them to leave with. I watched them die, yet I always remember those golden years of our family. I was innocent, my father was sensible, my mother was bringing life into the world, Sandra was the troublemaker she had always been, and Emilio radiated pure happiness. That was who I was with them, and that was who they were with me, even though they never found out about many of the bad things I did. Just like Sandra, they never knew. Despite all of that, who I am today is because of them. I keep going for their sake, and I will continue to do so. Part 1, Chaos Looms. I was stranded at a bus station, completely cut off from the outside world. The power had gone out everywhere. All I could see were electric cars shutting down and crashing, planes falling from the sky, and explosions in the distance. The first thing that crossed my mind was Emilio, my little 5-year-old brother. I ran all the way home. People were lying on the ground. Help. I can't get out of my car. The seatbelt is stuck. Help. A little girl was trapped beneath rubble, crying, one of her feet badly injured. Mommy. Mommy. Where are you? There were injured dogs lying in the streets, and some were already dead. But I didn't stop. I kept running without looking back, terrified. When I finally reached home, I searched for my mum and dad. It was 5 in the afternoon. Emilio usually got out of school at 4, but instead of finding my family, I found our house in ruins. I was in shock. A few seconds later, I realized I couldn't stay there searching for things like my phone charger. I stopped for a moment to catch my breath, then ran toward my brother's school. Halfway there, I saw my parents coming. I ran toward my little brother, crouched down, hugged him, and kissed him. Then I stood up and held him tightly in my arms. I turned toward my parents calmly. We're okay. Let's go get my sister. But my parents looked at me in horror. Your sister is at work in Argentina, sweetheart. In Capilla del Monte. It's a long way from here, all the way from Peru. My father looked around, still trying to understand what was happening. We don't know if there was an earthquake, or if planes all over the world have crashed. Look, let's calm down first. We need to find somewhere we can talk, then we'll go to a shelter. We'll wait for the power to come back on, and then we'll fly somewhere else. Agitated, I shouted at her. Mum, look around you. Everything went down at noon. There's no electricity, no lights. There was an earthquake. I don't know how strong it was, and it probably hit all of Latin America. The only thing we can do now is walk all the way to Argentina, find out where she is, and say, well, the party's over here. She looked at me with a mixture of pity and anger, trying to calm me down. We just have to wait, Mija. We have to wait. I'm so worried about your sister. What terrible luck. She began to cry. Meanwhile, my father watched me with a disapproving look while comforting her. All I could think about was leaving. I knew the way to Capilla del Monte. I remembered going there with them once, and since I could memorize routes easily, I could guide us there without a problem, but that wouldn't be enough. Emilio was too young. He wouldn't be able to walk for kilometers, let alone for days. The same went for Mum, and probably Dad too. They simply didn't have the stamina to make a journey like that, so I stayed quiet, trying to calm myself down and understand their point of view. We sat there on the curb. My little brother fell fast asleep. 4 hours later, night had fallen, so we decided to check whether the electricity or internet had come back. We were near a free Wi-Fi hotspot, and Dad still had some phone credit, so he checked. Nothing. Seconds later, a helicopter broadcast an announcement telling us to head toward the Colombian coast, specifically to a place known as the Pro de Colombia, where ships bound for the South Pacific would be waiting. So the next thing I did was take off my sweater and wrap it around my little brother, tying him to me like a baby. Then I stood up and started walking. My parents shouted at me. What the hell are you doing? Didn't you hear the Colombian guy, Major? I stood my ground. It's a huge hassle to go looking for my sister, but not to go to Sumpra in Colombia. Come on, Mum. I'm not leaving without knowing where Sandro is. You can go to Colombia if you want, my father stepped in. Hey. Listen here, you stubborn girl. Come over here so we can talk like civilized people, okay? He took a breath. All right. I have a plan, and I want you both to listen. Your sister and the pro to Colombia are about the same distance away. I know the way to the pro, and you know the way to your sister, so your mother will go with you, and I'll take Emilio. Understood? I looked at him seriously. I'd rather take Emilio. My father looked at my expression and shook his head. Right now, we can't make everyone happy. We're already worried about your sister. We don't need to be worried about all three of you, too. So give me Emilio and take your mother. We can't waste any more time. I found 2 headlamps, one for you and one for me. My dad kissed my mother goodbye. Following his instructions, we began walking, each taking a different path. Those past 5 hours had been absolute madness. People were running back and forth, screaming, crying, fainting. Come on. There are military trucks. They've been looted. Wait. We won't be able to handle them. Just watch us. We set out on the march, amid the gunfire, shouting, and beatings. People died. Eventually, we were left on our own. As the hours passed, my mother grew tired, so we stopped to look for water at an oxo. We had just reached the main road, so we managed to get some water and kept going. We walked for another 5 hours. My mother complained the entire way, constantly muttering, "Alalo." About 10 hours later, it started to rain. Perfect timing for an argument. Why not? It's a great time, Mother. Right between this freezing hell and the raindrops, that's what I thought as I kept walking. But my mother insisted that we stop and find shelter. We argued while continuing down the road until I finally gave in. Half an hour later, we entered a house that looked abandoned and completely quiet. We spent the night there before continuing our journey. 2 weeks later. So much happened with my mum. Flashback, making campfires. Mum, I don't think you should cut down the whole tree. Then how do you expect to make a fire without firewood? What if we took shelter in a house instead? Oh, so now you want to? Well, too bad. You're stuck with this. Oh, Mum, don't take it like that. We're going to find shelter soon. Come on. No. There are earthquakes happening all the time. We wouldn't be safe. Remember, there are still people trapped under the rubble. Flashback, hunting and eating rabbit. There it goes. Grab it. Oh no. That rabbit is demonic. No, I'm not grabbing it. We can't eat expired food anymore. So either you grab it, or you don't eat. Then you don't eat either. I'm back, sweetie. Look at this fine rabbit. Go on, smell it. Can I have some? I told you to grab it, and you wouldn't. Well, there you go. Now you have to deal with it. Yeah, right. It doesn't even look that good. Flashback, talking about the future. So, what were you thinking of studying after you graduate from high school? The same thing as Sandra. I see. I could already picture you in a white coat, just like her. Yeah. Well, I don't think that's possible anymore. Of course it's possible. Can't you see? This is only temporary. Yeah. I'm not going to argue with you, Mum. Just take a better look around you, okay? Flashback, looting oxxos and supermarkets. Sweetie, run. Those guys with guns are coming. Wait. There are more bags here. So what? It means we can carry more stuff. Here, take this. Okay. Run. Who would have thought that'd still be good fruit? Yeah, and we can save it thanks to the bags. Exactly. Yeah. Flashback, helping a boy find his mother. Mom, will you help me find my mummy? How old are you, son? 10. Okay. Where were you before you got separated? In a house. Then the earthquake hit. We ran, and she told me not to look back. When I turned around, my mum was screaming. She was trapped. What happened? Some guys helped her get out, but when she got free, her leg had been severed. They told me she would be okay after seeing a doctor and that I should stay here. But it's been more than 5 days, and nobody has come to tell me anything about my mum. Alright. Let's go to the place where they took her. Wait, Mum. That path will take us farther away from where we're trying to go. We have to help him. There's no time. Then you go ahead. I'm going to help the boy. Oh, come on. You've got to be kidding me, there are a lot of injured people over there. Let's go. Yeah, let's go. Excuse me, miss. This boy is looking for his mum. Of course. What's her name? Lisa Hernandez. Yes, she's in a coma. They took her to a hospital about an hour away from our Great Lake. Wow. That's not far from where we're headed. Let's go. We're wasting time here. Calm down, Lareus. The boy is exhausted, dehydrated, and hungry. We need to stop for supplies again. I'll go. You two keep moving. Here you go, kid. Some water and 2 pieces of a sandwich. Wow. It only took you 3 hours. Yeah. Let's go. We're almost there. It's getting dark. We should probably camp here for now. No. There's no time. Lareus. I'm exhausted, and so is the boy. Fine. How about you camp here while I carry the boy to the hospital? Does that sound like a good idea, Mother? No, but do whatever you want. Look, I can't keep walking. I've got blisters, and they're bleeding. We don't need to hear about your bloody blisters. Alright, kid. We're here. Wake up. How do you not get tired? You're human, aren't you? I've got stamina, kid. Now, let's go inside. Halt. Do you have any serious injuries? No. We're here looking for a woman named Lisa Hernandez. She's in a coma. They're taking her off life support at noon. No. You can't. She's my mommy. Yeah, he came a long way. Some guys said they'd come back and let you know how she was doing, I think. Yes. I was told about that. Just a moment. It's true. It's the boy. Yeah. I'm the boy. Alright. Come with me. Mommy. So, are they still going to take her off life support? Would you have the heart to do it? No. But I'd like to leave with a clear conscience, knowing he got the chance to say goodbye to his mother. Of course. You can leave without worrying. Alright, kid. I'm leaving. Make sure you tell your mum thank you for everything. Sure. Bye. Wow, Mum. Look at the time. It's almost dark. Quiet. Alright. Let's keep going. When we arrived, we asked about the place where Sandra worked. We were told that it had collapsed during the earthquake, but everyone had managed to get out. When we reached the site, we shouted, Sandra. 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 Night fell while we were still searching through the woods. Then I heard strange noises. I went to investigate, thinking it might be her, while my mom continued searching somewhere else. When I reached the source of the noise, I found a man standing beside another man near a plane. He was threatening my sister. Get in the plane or you die. Shocked and agitated, I shouted, take me instead, please. Let her go. I'm begging you. He heard me and released her. She ran toward me, breathing heavily, tears streaming down her face. Run. Get out of here. I ignored her. I stood there with a firm expression and spoke calmly. No. You know they'll come after us. I don't know what kind of trouble you got yourself into, but now you have to take Mom to Colombia, to be with Dad and Emilio. First, contact them at the boat station and send them a message telling them you're on your way. Please. She hugged me, crying. I promise we'll come back for you. Don't worry. They'll be safe. She ran toward my mother, who was calling out to us from a distance. Sandra. Is that you, daughter? At that moment, I pushed my sister away. She ran toward my mother. And I went with the strange man. Jorge and Emilio. It had been 2 long, exhausting weeks. Emilio was becoming quite a handful. He cried constantly because he didn't want to walk, and every few minutes he would start pestering me. Dad. Is it time for bitude yet? Ouch. But we finally arrived. The only problem was the enormous crowd. I had to carry Emilio just to get closer, but I hadn't realized they were only letting children through. I approached one of the guards to ask what was going on, but he seemed to know me. Mr. Jorge? Yes. I'm Jorge. How do you know me? He led me toward a booth built out over the water. People were getting aggressive and throwing things, so I went to see what was happening. My daughter Sandra had connections with the guards, which worried me because she had once told us, if we ever find ourselves in a dangerous situation and I can help from far away, I'll send you a message through one of the guards. Understood? I think she knew something back then that we didn't. A few minutes later, the guard told me he was going to play a radio recording made by Sandra and Dana. Sandra, Dad, I hope you're hearing this. A lot of ships will be arriving over the next 8 weeks. They're taking all the children first because there could be more aftershocks, so I need you to let Emilio go and follow the man who gave you this recording. He'll take you to my workplace. See you there, Dana, love, don't be stubborn. Please listen to your daughter. We need you. We're okay, but there's still one thing we need to take care of. And Emilio, listen to me. You have to be strong, my little carrot, okay? In 8 weeks, we'll be wherever you are, and I'll make your favorite meal. Just wait for us. When the recording ended, I went completely blank. I couldn't bring myself to speak. I knew how much Dana loved Emilio, so I couldn't just say nothing. I was worried, but I reminded myself that I had to think calmly and clearly if I wanted to resolve the situation. So I said goodbye to Emilio. I was tough with him, but no one can take away the fact that I was once a high-ranking commander. I retired about 2 years ago because of classified matters. Maybe that's why I can be a little hard on my son. But I love him dearly. I don't want anyone to hurt him. I want him to grow up to be a noble leader with a shark's mindset. So, as I said goodbye, I held back my tears. Soldier, it's time for you to go with that man. He'll take you to the other children. You heard your sister Sandra. They need me. He looked at me with his baby face, but there was courage in his eyes. Yes, Dad. Do what you have to do. I'll wait for you, but don't make me wait too long. The man pointed toward the path, and my son walked away without looking back. Later, the same man returned with 2 backpacks and some food. He was also carrying a device with a route marked on it. We set off, making our way through the crowd. Everyone looked angry, sad, and desperate. Then the man told me I had to cover my eyes because of the company's confidentiality protocols. I hesitated. Why would that matter when the entire world is in the middle of a crisis? But I decided not to think about it. I agreed without further protest. We walked for days. I felt like I was losing my mind. Without my sight, my other senses became incredibly sensitive. I don't know how we managed to get there in only a week and a half, but when I finally saw them, I felt relieved. I hugged them with all my strength. Sandra explained to me that, Dad, I'll explain this once, so pay attention. While monitoring the anomalies in the forest, I found the wreckage of a spacecraft. We investigated it for months until we reached a crucial area of the forest that we had never explored before. I went there with the research team, not knowing what was going to happen. We found a document with an ancient image. After researching its history, we discovered that it was a prophecy from the 15th century. It warned that everything would be destroyed and that a new world would be born, a cycle that would bring an end to everything we knew. Just like what's happening now, Dad. Sometime after we discovered it, strange people began attacking this place where no one even knows Area 51 exists. We requested thousands of soldiers. There's something I never wanted to tell anyone. Something only Liraus knows. Dad. I'm sorry. I didn't know you were the one training them. After that, we went into hiding. I couldn't live with the guilt, and the worst part was that I didn't even know they were keeping different species inside those cells. Some of them looked human. I was only monitoring them. I wrote reports and sent them to my boss without knowing what they actually were. Everything was classified until the attack happened and they were released. I was ordered to protect the prophecy. That's why that man was following me. And that's why he took Liraus. It was my fault. She doesn't know the whole story, but she paid for a flight to Peru for me, and I stayed hidden. Months later, I finally came back to give them what they wanted because I couldn't stay hidden anymore. The truth is, they kidnapped me for 2 weeks. They told me everything they had been doing to those creatures, and they took the prophecy from me. I never knew what it was for or why they needed it. Before I could find out, I escaped. I ran until my sister found me. I stood there, stunned and unable to move. She wouldn't stop crying. And I couldn't stop thinking about my soldiers. All this time, I had blamed myself for abandoning them. I had piloted that mission. I was shot down. And apparently, she was the only other survivor. She never learned the full story. All she knew was the version in which I had retired by choice because I refused to train other soldiers. So I decided not to tell her the truth. I couldn't burden her with the guilt that even I sometimes struggled to live with. So I kept lying to her without even blinking. Then I hugged her. I spoke with a trembling voice. I'm okay. Do you hear me? Let's just find a solution. We need a rescue plan. We're going to be okay. We'll be together. We're good people. And remember, to survive, you need a shark's mindset. Do you hear me? Meanwhile, Sandra was crying over her son, Emilio, and Laurus. I tried to calm her down. Emilio is fine. Right now, we need to focus on a strategy. Emilio, we had been walking for days, and I was completely exhausted. Good Lord, I was with a man who kept acting crazy and saying things like, "What's wrong, slowpoke? When we reach another country, you'll get your butt chewed and some cacas." Whoa, calm down, soldier. Wipe those tears. I can't carry you. You have to walk. That way you won't be cold, and you'll grow stronger. I'm just a kid. I'm hungry all the time. Even though the man had food, one day it ran out. By the time we reached a boat packed with people, everyone was shouting, but I had no idea what was going on. My dad went to investigate. A tall man took us into a room. We could hear Mum and one of my sisters talking. They said they needed Dad, and that I had to leave. I didn't have a choice. I obeyed when I saw the look in Dad's eyes. It was like he was telling me, understand the situation. So, without arguing, I said goodbye to Dad and followed the man who pointed me toward the next place. When I arrived, there were tons of children. 2 boys became my friends almost immediately. They pushed me. I pushed them back, then we started laughing for no reason. The man who had shown me the way left. Then a woman arrived, shouting, "Attention. From this moment on, you will forget what it means to be a child. You will learn to defend yourselves. You will learn to fight. And above all, understand this, there is no destination anymore. The cities you knew no longer exist. Our only solution is to preserve the youngest, strongest, and most intelligent generation, those willing to do whatever it takes to survive. You will begin rigorous training. We will count every child. We will evaluate you, and anyone who is deemed unfit will be thrown into the sea." Emilio. Years later I was terrified. Scared out of my mind. But Dad had taught us to have a shark mindset. So I absorbed everything they taught me, and little by little, they turned me into a cruel person. By the 7th week, most of my friends were barely holding on. Out of 100 children, only 15 of us were left. They forced us to fight each other. If we refused, they would beat the other child until they stopped breathing. One night, one of my friends whispered, "Emilio, what if we escape? You know we can't. We can barely stand. We have to try tonight. And go where? If they don't kill us, the sea will." "I know. You're better off just hallucinating, buddy. I miss my family." "Me too." Whenever our scores dropped, they would starve us for days. Some of the children couldn't take it. One day, I reached a point where I didn't want to live anymore. Then they attacked the ship. The ship began to sink. People came for us. They put handcuffs on us and took us aboard a gigantic aircraft. And that's where I saw Laurus. She recognized me immediately. She demanded to see me. Then she hugged me, crying. "What did those monsters do to you? You're going to be okay, Emilio." After the rescue, the ship was strange. And so were its crew. They weren't even human. For a moment, I thought I was hallucinating. But the brace was real. And my sister Laurus's hands were warm. She smelled terrible, though. She looked like she'd been dragged through mud, and she was slightly dehydrated. But she was still there, and that was enough for me. I didn't understand why she was with those guys. Something about them told me they couldn't be trusted. They had animal faces but human bodies. It was creepy, unreal, strange, and way too suspicious. Still, I felt an enormous sense of relief. Then I discovered something incredible. There was a bathroom inside the ship. And I'm not joking, it looked like the kind of bathroom only a rich person could have. 10 kids could fit inside without even being cramped. After everything that had happened, taking a shower made me feel clean again. Safe, for the first time in a long time. I still had trouble sleeping, though. I have a whole ritual at night, that's what my sister calls it. We play, she tells me a story. Sometimes, she even sings to me. And while I was there, I kept remembering one particular day. It wasn't long before Laurus completely changed after getting a girlfriend. I hated her girlfriend. She was always bringing new trends, new problems, or what Dad called, stupid stuff. But that wasn't the memory I wanted to think about. There was another day, a better one. It happened during summer vacation, before I started high school. Dad was away on military duty. Mum was having a girls' night with my aunts. So I was left in the care of Laurus, my beloved sister. I was 5 years old. Back then, my 2 favorite things in the whole world were Elmo the dinosaur and Tarzan. Laurus would make me pancakes before bed, right after my bath. Those nights were unforgettable. It was like our own little party. Just the two of us, but there was one particular night I remembered more than any other. It was connected to a song from the karaoke list she used to sing to me. A song that would come back to me on my worst days, and there was something special about the way she sang it. She sang it exactly like Emilio. MMMM. 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 What's up, buddy? Want some pancakes? Alright. I'll tell you a little story. And I'll sing it just like your favorite character. Yeah. Your Samsung. She has a non-existent radar signature, moving through the shadows with faceted geometry so you can never detect her secrets. She's wicked and doesn't even know what she's got. She stopped living when her boyfriend kicked the bucket. She's living the dream, but she wants to quit. Just imagine the embarrassment. Someone made her love what she does, and now she reverse engineers your gaze, trying to decode the secret of your inner mythology. This news has me feeling totally yucca. Holy crap, you'd say, Emilio, but you don't have any street smarts. Oh, Nancy. What a weirdo. Your sister is crazy. Completely nuts. But here's your mostrito before the pancakes, my beautiful little carrot. Anyway, like I was saying, someone made her love what she does, and that someone definitely doesn't fly under the radar. She's got posters all over her room, skunkworks blueprints on the walls, and a black budget dedicated entirely to watching you. She's got sense of fusion in her eyes. She processes your lies before you even speak. No electronic interference can stop her. Her mind moves at Mach 5, burning through the fuselage, a supersonic flow that nobody can cool down. And even if you hand her declassified documents, she'd still rather chase the mystery of lights in the desert. You're her unidentified phenomenon. She's a black budget girl, analyzing the trail of your kinetic heat. She isn't looking for aliens. She's looking for the prototype of a love that can fly higher than the secret. She was the best at hiding how badly she wanted to throw everything within reach. Back then, I would burst out laughing. To me, she was a weird, intelligent, and incredibly cool heroine. As I grew older, I started understanding things I hadn't noticed as a kid. She was an excellent student. She always got top marks. She loved listening to Dad talk about the planes in his unit. And she spent hours talking on the phone with Sandra, my other sister, the one who hated her life. Whenever Sandra reached one of those moments when she wanted to quit everything, she would call Larouse. Larouse would alwause warn her, you can't just come here expecting everyone to open their arms to you. But it wasn't until the day of the great earthquake that Sandra finally broke free from Larouse's obsessive fascination with Area 51. And Larouse, in turn, finally broke free from her own crazy idealization of the perfect job. She loved the subject. She could spend all day watching it, listening to it, talking about it. Even so, she was still my favorite sister. The ship from hell. On that ship from hell, I discovered things my sister Larouse had kept very well hidden from us. That secret was why she wasn't herself anymore. She was always angry. She had no motivation. She cried all the time, and whenever I was around, she tried to hide it. But, as they say, you can't hide the sun with one finger. And somehow, I was dragged into the middle of it. I became a hostage. Or maybe a bargaining chip. A life for a life. A hand for a hand, a nose for a nose. An eye for an eye. Hair for hair, I don't know. Whatever it was cruel. And they wanted to do it specifically to her. Maybe because she was brilliant. I didn't discover the whole truth until after the Great Games, and even then, nobody realized there would be one more game before her final departure. During my time at my sister's stronghold, I participated in one of her strange programs. That's where I met the love of my life. Natasha. She was crazy, completely unhinged. Just like me, explosive, possessive, and somehow, all of that eventually resulted in 6 children. The way we evolved as a couple, and as individuals, throughout that journey was something I never could have imagined. Children, ages 8 to 12. Emilio. I'd like to learn how to cook, Mum. Why do you want to learn how to cook, sweetie? So I can make food for you guys. For us? Yeah. And for my friends. Friends. Or a girlfriend? Oh, Mum, just teach me. Alright. What do you want to cook? Pasta and a tres leches cake. Okay. We'll see what gets delivered this week. If we can, I'll teach you. Okay, Natasha, see you later, Grandma. Natasha, help me make dinner. Dash. What's up, girls? We're just waiting for Emilio. That boy? Yeah. He's the cutest one of them all. He's got his charms, but I wouldn't say he's better than Raul. Now that boy is handsome and has style. I wouldn't be so sure about that, Natasha. Emilio and Natasha. What's up, Causa? What's a Causa? No, that's not what I meant. It's you. So you feel sorry for me and I'm some kind of cause you need to fix? No. It means friend. Hi, friend. I just wanted to say hello. Well, you've never done that before. It's just that we've never really talked. Just the two of us. So what is it? Why did you want to see me? Well, I wanted to invite you to my house for dinner. I'm going to cook. You're going to cook what? The food. And why only me? Am I supposed to be your girlfriend or something? No. But I've heard you talk a lot about food and your cravings, so I wanted to do something nice for you. I'll go. But I'm bringing my grandma. Is your sister Laura coming? Yeah. I already invited her. Alright, then. See you later. Yeah. See you. The dinner. Hello, Mrs. Christina. How are you? Come on in. Hello, dear. How's everything going? Good, good. Don't worry. And your parents, Emilio? They're on something like a honeymoon. Not too far from here. And your other sister? She'll be late, but she's coming. Laurus, right? Yeah. And if I'm not mistaken, Natasha from row 10, right? Yes. Your best student. You certainly stood out for your competitiveness and your willingness to challenge anyone. Sister. That's how it is, isn't it? Not many girls would dare challenge an old woman to a staring contest or a race. Knock. Knock. That must be Sandra. Sister. Hi. Who's he? This is Luis, and, sister, I need to talk to you after dinner. No. Sandra, it has to be now. Okay, I'm pregnant. What, you're pregnant? Congratulations, sweetheart. Thank you. There are doctors who can take care of you, but there aren't any midwives here. I'll have to go to another stronghold and bring one back. Mag. Sorry. Anyway, let's eat. Here you go, Natasha. The chef's special. Wait. You actually made this, Emilio? Yeah. Try it, dash. That's really good. See? Your little brother can cook. Son, you have my blessing. Grandma. What, sweetheart? He'd make a good husband. He cooks, and you're you. Why are you looking at me like that? I wasn't. Keep eating. I also made a cake. What? I want some. I want some. Bring it out already, please. Adults, ages 13 to 30, Emilio, Sandra, I want to have children with Natasha. Wait. You're telling me this before Us? Yeah. You know Samsung hates Natasha and is always waiting for me to make a move so she can try to separate us. And, well, she can't have children. Well, Natasha doesn't really seem like someone who wants kids. You know, with her obsession with sports and winning all the time. Yeah. That's what I love most about her. Well, if you want my advice, wait until she gets tired of competing and wants something else. Wait until she proposes in a legal marriage. That's when you'll know she wants a serious life with you. Can you imagine me secretly marrying Natasha? Yeah, I can imagine it. It's your life, Emilio. Inola Us never believed in religion. She had no right to forbid everyone from practicing their beliefs without respecting something people had believed in their whole lives, so it wouldn't exactly be like stabbing her in the back. Natasha, Laurus. I challenge you to a 200-kilometer race. What do you want to get out of that, Natasha? I don't have time for this. Bring religion back. No. You're afraid of losing and letting religion ruin your fake society. You know what? To hell with it. Where do we start, and where do we finish? We start here and finish at your house. Fine. If you lose, you stay away from Emilio for a year. Deal. Chewie's robotic voice, Laurus has wooed. Natasha will now stay away from Emilio for 1 year. I repeat, Natasha will stay away from Emilio for 1 year. Shit. I don't like talking about this encounter, but Natasha lost her temper and started hitting Laurus. Laurus didn't hold back and hit her back. That's when I arrived. Laurus, stop. She started it. You'd better tell her not to start something she can't finish. Oh, I'll finish it. I keep my word, bitch. Did you hear that? Emilio, step aside. No. I don't accept the challenge. If I got dragged into this, then my decision needs to be respected too. Asked Natasha, Emilio. I have other things to deal with, so if you'll excuse me. I don't want to see you, Emilio. I need some space. And I lost on purpose. Then why did you hit her? You only do that when you lose. That's not true. You don't know everything about me. Maybe not, but you shouldn't push me away. Larius, just let me marry Natasha and have children with her. Shut up. Religion doesn't exist. And even though you're part of my family, I won't let you start disrupting the peace. Well, if you won't let me, then you'll see me take your place as leader of the fortress. You're 20 years old, Emilio. So what? So you're testing my patience. Get out. Fine. Then open the gates of this great dome for me. Talk to Mum and Dad about that. If they agree, I'll gladly open them for you. No problem, Mum and Dad. Mum, Dad, I'm going to marry Natasha. Son, we heard everything that happened. How could you cast your sister aside for someone who has no respect? I love her. You loved your sister too. You can't make me choose. I'll make it work with Natasha. Well, if that's what you want, we'll talk to her so you can go your own way. I just hope you don't regret it and that you remember everything she's done for you, Emilio and Natasha. Baby, I'm sorry. I just want to marry you. I believe in God. I know. I didn't know if you wanted a life with me. Well, now you know. We could go to Glenda's fortress. I heard she allows freedom of belief. No. She was involved in the death of Larius's girlfriend. She already hates you. She'll never let us do what we want. I know. But it feels like I'm stabbing her in the back. It's your life, Emilio. You don't owe her anything. She didn't give birth to you, dash. Alright, guys, take this. It'll protect you from the aggressive dinosaurs. And if you want to move to another stronghold, now's the time to tell me, because you won't be able to just walk in whenever you want. Glenda's stronghold. Okay. I'll talk to her. Well. Glenda. Larius. Is that you? Yeah, If this is about my freedom of belief law, believe me, everyone respects your rules. No churches, no religious events. I respect them too. Well, there are 2 young people who want to get married and move to your stronghold. Do you have room for them? Yes, I do. When would they arrive? A week or so. I don't know exactly. Alright. I'll keep an eye on the cameras. Yeah. Hey, before you hang up. I wanted to apologize for what happened years ago. I hope we can talk and, we can't. I have to go now. Alright. Come with me. Larius. Sister, I don't want to leave things the way they are after our fight. You didn't care about anything I worked for, what I gave you, or what I achieved so we could live like this. So just go, Emilio. Don't ask me to hug you or tell you, yes, little brother, live your life. You're right, because that's not what I think. You're just a stupid guy in love who's being used. Goodbye, I've said what I needed to say. You're not my mother. You don't get to judge me like this. Even she never yelled at me the way you do. I'm not your mother. And yet, I was one to you your entire life. Well, then I renounce our bond. You're nobody to me anymore. I wish I had thought those words through. I had no idea what was waiting for me with Natasha. I was clearly a stupid guy in love who ended up hurting the heart of the sister who had raised me in so many ways. And from that moment on, she would never again see the little boy who refused to leave her side. Natasha and Emilio. Do you, Mr. Emilio, accept Natasha as your wife, and do you, Miss Natasha, accept Emilio as your husband? I promise to love you, respect you, and take care of you through good times and bad, to be faithful to you until death do us part. I do. I promise to love you, respect you, and take care of you through good times and bad, to be faithful to you until death do us part. I do. The groom may kiss the bride. Damn you, Emilio. You did this to me. It you owe us. I'm sorry, my love. We're going to be parents. Breathe. Come on, push. Shut up. Don't tell me what to do. Sorry. Come on. After 3 more repetitions of the same event, we decided we weren't having any more children, resulting in the first vasectomy performed after the end of the world. Daddy. Do we have a grandma? Yes. And a grandpa? Yes, we have one too. Then where are they? Why do they never visit us? Well, sometimes families fight and stop seeing each other. Okay. But why don't we visit them? It's not a good idea, sweetheart. Honey, why not? You only had a fight with your sister. She's the fortress chief. Well, let's talk to Chief Glenda. Okay. You want to visit your grandma's? Alright, let's do it. So you're telling me you want to visit Larouse's fortress? The place where you're banned for life? Yes. That's not possible. You know, traveling to other fortresses is only allowed as a reward. What if we convince the winner to take us with them? Fine, you can go. But don't say I allowed it. You're a coward. If it weren't for my kids, I'd have you demoted. Natasha, show some respect. Don't worry, Emilio. Alright, you may leave. Well, we convinced her. Yeah. It's all for these beautiful kids who want to see their grandmas. Yeah, well. Let's go. Believe me, what happened next was horrifying. I knew it might happen, so I left a letter addressed to Larouse. I was old and obese. Even though my wife was athletic, she had lost her physical condition after our third child. During one of our arguments, I suffered a heart attack. They recommended insulin, but there weren't enough supplies, so they forced me to get in shape. I almost succeeded, but I wasn't eating properly, and they made me exercise for too long. When we left, the dinosaurs still hadn't cleared out. One of them startled me. And I had another heart attack while eating our travel sandwich. The story continues. But it isn't the end yet. Letter for Larouse from a lovesick idiot who stabbed his second mother in the back. If you're reading this, it means I'm dead. I suspect Natasha poisoned me. Or maybe it was just exhaustion and the lack of food. What I want to tell you is that I hope you forgive me for leaving. And thank you for taking in my family. I owe you a huge explanation for what happened. But for now, just do this. Kill Natasha. Part 2. Larouse's training. 2 years before the apocalypse, Larouse. It was just an ordinary day like any other. I woke up, showered, and had breakfast. My mum, rushing off to handle a legal case, and forgetting to feed Emilio, kissed us goodbye as she left. As usual, Emilio asked me to make him scrambled eggs and beans, so I did. While eating, he asked about Dad. I told him Dad was on his retirement trip and would be back in a month. After breakfast, I walked Emilio to school, a half-hour walk. Afterward, I would head to a bus terminal and take 3 more buses to reach high school by 2 p.m. I was a first-year student. I didn't have friends. I read books, and I was naive, until incoming call from Sister Sandy, heavy breathing and a high-pitched, alarmed voice. Sister, I don't know what to do. I can't handle this anymore. I just found out I've been working for dangerous people and that the soldiers Dad used to talk about so much died because of the company. I'm in hiding with a prophecy. I don't know why they want it or why they're insisting I guard it so closely. I asked a man for help. He's military, and he agreed. But I need you to withdraw money from an account and hand it over, along with any savings you have. Can you? You're the only one I can turn to, and he's going there today. I couldn't say no, though I would have, had I known what awaited me after that call. She gave me her bank account details and told me where to hand over the money. She gave me the address of a bus rapid transit station and a code I had to say. The contact would approach me, knowing what I looked like. So, after leaving, I went straight to the ATM and then to the station. I waited there for 25 minutes until a tall, intimidating man spoke to me, practically shouting, "Code." I tell him this as I hand over my savings and the rest of the money, which was a substantial amount. And at that moment, I had no idea that this was going to be the beginning of everything. After that, he told me I couldn't contact my sister for 2 years. He said he would see me again to discuss another matter. Then he left. I left too, but I couldn't stop thinking about what other business he could possibly want to discuss with me. When I got home, my little brother greeted me like he always did, with laughter, hugs, kisses, and way too much energy. "You're finally here." Finally. Race me. "How was your day, sis?" I usually answered him like this. "Good." I stewed and made lots of free ends. He always laughed at the way I said it. Then he asked me for a bedtime story. I read it to him, and by the second page, he was already asleep. I went to check on Mum. She was asleep surrounded by papers and her computer, completely unaware that I had even arrived. The next day, everything changed. That man appeared again. He took me to a place that looked like a gym, located on a completely deserted and abandoned street. I followed him because I was scared. He was almost 2 meters tall, muscular, and had this incredibly serious expression. When we arrived, he looked at me and said, Your sister could be in serious trouble, you know. I stayed quiet. If I decide to, I could have her sent to prison just by making one phone call. And your parents? They're rich. Their entire fortune could disappear, leaving them with nothing. So I'm offering you a deal." He paused. "You join my squad, and I'll cover for you with your parents. You'll continue seeing them normally, and your little brother will still have you around. All you have to do is obey and show discipline." I didn't say anything. "We already know you're a good fighter. Your father took you to karate and boxing when you were little. You didn't like it, but you were good at it." He looked directly into my eyes. "So, what do you say, kid?" Another pause. "You decide the future of your family." I was shocked by how much he knew about me. But he was military. So I remembered Dad's motto, "You need a shark's mindset to survive." I hid my fear, stood straight, and answered firmly. "I understand. I accept. But this only lasts for 2 years, while you settle your affairs. Right?" He answered with only a few words. Words that made my hair stand on end. And that same cold sweat came back the moment I heard his voice. "Yes. From now on, your name is Squadron. You will address me as Sergeant Marcus." "Understood, Squadron?" I answered with the same firmness. "Yes, sir." He explained that we would meet there and that the work would begin during school hours. Sometimes we would have to make up excuses. Sleepovers, trips with friends, school excursions, anything that would keep my parents from becoming suspicious. "Yes." I stood there for a moment before asking, "Understood, Sergeant Marcus. May I be dismissed?" He stared at me. He looked impressed. "Yes. You may go." I went home pale, feeling like I was about to faint. But my little brother was my cure for everything. Mum was always busy, Dad had already returned, but he wasn't the same man anymore. He looked completely drained, even though he was now staying at home. I tried talking to him. We didn't spend much time together, but my little brother was happy with whatever time he got with him. He would constantly tell me stories about Dad. I think that was what kept me sane. The next day, I was introduced to a woman named Lilith. Then they introduced me to 2 groups. Apparently, I was going to compete against them. Not for fun, not for training. To survive. If we failed an objective, we would have to accept whatever punishment came next, and sometimes, that punishment involved a member of our family. That was how things worked back then. The day I arrived, they chose me without consulting either team. It was almost like a demonstration of how things were going to work from then on. Only the leaders participated. The first one I met was Rena. She belonged to the opposing squad. She had been brought in specifically to study me. My weaknesses, my limits. Whether I was someone they needed to be careful with, or someone they could manipulate. That was part of her 1-year training assignment. My squad had 5 members, including me. The other squad had 6. They already had the advantage. I knew there was a trap. I just decided to let it slide. The girls in my squad were Teresa, Glenda, Sarah, and Mara. The other squad consisted of Abigail, Matsy, Jessica, Maria, Wendy, and Rena. And that was how my training began. I just didn't know yet that this wasn't really training, it was the beginning of everything. Early squad trials, endurance tests. The first week began with a simple endurance test. They made us stand there with 2 cups of water in our hands, our arms held completely straight above our heads. The water slowly spilled over us, like artificial rain. Anyone who lowered their arms lost. Those who couldn't handle the cold started shaking, but they still kept their arms up. After 5 hours, 3 girls from my squad began lowering their arms. After 6 hours, 2 more gave up. By the 7th hour, 3 more were gone. At that point, only Rena and I were still standing. At the 8th hour, I closed my eyes. I thought about my little brother. And then I thought about my sister. I had admired her since I was little. She was the one who took care of me, protected me, and never left me alone. So, despite the pain, I refused to lower my arms. Until suddenly, Sergeant Marcus shouted, "You can lower your arms now." I was startled. I started crying and begged them to let me go home. When I finally arrived, my parents didn't even notice how exhausted I was. But my little brother was waiting for me in my room. And he looked furious. "Tell me, was it worth covering for you? What did you do? Did you go out with your friends to mess around?" "Yeah. Thanks for what you told Mom and Dad, my sweet little carrot," he blushed. "You told me the day before that you were going to a friend's birthday party. But because you're so scatterbrained, You forgot to tell them yourself. They believed me. The following days were pretty much the same. We won the first trial, then came another endurance test involving heights and hanging from rope. My hands are burning. I don't know if I can hold on any longer, Laraus. Shut up and stop thinking. Damn it. Sorry, Laraus. It's just you and Rena left, dash. Rena fainted. I repeat, Rena fainted. Laraus, you can let go now. Oh no. Laraus fainted too. I can't believe it. Alright, I'll take her home. Don't worry. Are you sure, Mara? Yes. Be careful. Okay. See you later. Knock, knock. Oh, Mara. Hi. What happened to this girl? Why are her hands so red? We had a competition to see who could keep their hands in ice water the longest. She fainted when we finished. I see. But why would you do something so stupid? I'm sorry. Well, don't worry about it. Put her over here. Wow, you're strong, Mara. Do you want a glass of water? Yes, thank you. And where is Emilio? Right here. What happened to my little sister? What did you do to her? Did you? Emilio, calm down. Your sister is alive. Yeah, I can see she's breathing. But I'll be keeping a close eye on you. Emilio. What? Go play in your room. Run along. I don't want to play with Laraus. Who wants to play with me? Me. Oh, Emilio. Just don't crush me. Alright, I'll be going now. Sure. Thanks for bringing her home. Yes, sir. After Mara left, Dad looked at me. Laraus, what's this about you doing stupid challenges with your friends? We're teenagers. And? We do stupid things. Yeah, he sighed. Stupid things. Emilio, don't repeat that. Dad looked at me again. Anyway, Laraus, that's not what being a teenager is all about. Just promise me you won't come home in that condition again. Yeah. Okay. I promise. There was another time when we had to hang upside down from a log like monkeys. Oh no. I think I'm going to throw up. Go ahead and puke, but don't let go. Hey, Teresa. Could you think about the people who aren't hanging there anymore? Sorry. Okay, girls. You can let go now. Oh, you've got to be kidding me, Teresa. They didn't clean up your damn puke. Come on, girls. Everyone's waiting for us. Believe me, Mara, I tried to clean it up, but Sergeant Marcus wouldn't let me. Alright, squad. If you're all so close, then huddle up next to her. He paused. Now, break. Shit, Teresa. That day, we all threw up on ourselves. And because I didn't want to go home looking like that, we changed clothes at Teresa's house. Well, at least we won. Yeah. I guess it doesn't matter that we ended up covered in the squad's vomit. Yeah, Teresa pointed toward the door. Oh, just get out of my house already. I'll wash your clothes. Then came the second weapons trial. They taught us how to use the weapons, only to beat us afterward because apparently we weren't good enough. We lost by 2 points. Sergeant Marcus was furious. Listen up, you good for nothings. How many times do I have to explain this? There's the trigger, and there are the rounds. You need to understand that every weapon carries a different number of rounds, and you need to reload after every burst. Do you hear me, Mara? Nobody answered. You can't expose yourselves without making sure the weapon is empty. If the enemy is firing the same weapon at the same time and you think it's your turn to shoot, you're going to get yourselves killed. If they're out of ammunition, you are too. It's simple logic, girls. He pointed toward the target. You made a fool of me as your sergeant. So you're not leaving until I see the dummy riddled with bullets and hear every one of you shouting the name of each weapon, its ammunition capacity, and its function on the battlefield. One of the girls finally spoke. But none of us know anything about guns. Besides, you only told us that marksmanship was essential, and we did that perfectly. Sure. I thought you'd win too. He threw the weapons catalog onto the table. But you threw away your points out of sheer stupidity. He pointed at the catalog. This is your new lesson. There's the weapons catalog. I'll be back in an hour. Sergeant. Can I call my dad to let him know? Do whatever you want. He turned around. But by the end of today, I need you to know the damn function of every single weapon. Okay, I didn't know it at the time, but that was only the beginning. And Sergeant Marcus was going to make sure I learn everything the hard way. Emilio, is Dad home? He went to the store. How long ago? Emilio, who's on the phone? It's Laraus. Laraus. What happened? Are you coming home? No. I wanted to ask for permission to have a sleepover at Teresa's house. It's Monday. Do you have school tomorrow? Yes. I'll come home after school tomorrow. Okay. Put Teresa on. Sure. Hold on. Teresa, my dad wants to talk to you. Hello, sir. Hello. Everything okay? Your voice sounds a little shaky. It's just, my boyfriend broke up with me. We had an argument. You know. Teenage stuff. I see. Well, I'm counting on you to look after my daughter. And don't even think about drinking, not even over some guy. You're young. Besides, there are plenty of guys who'd want to be with you. Yes, sir. Thank you. Here's your daughter. Okay, Dad. See you tomorrow. Read Emilio a bedtime story and take him to school tomorrow. Okay, sounds good, sweetheart. See you. He suddenly stopped. Wait, little sis. You aren't coming. Don't start throwing a tantrum. I'll bring you a cake tomorrow. With what money? I have savings from my allowance. Anyway, bye. Kisses. I wanted to go. Damn it. That stupid Rena ruined everything. Teresa, calm down. Now we just have to learn this stuff. No. Today was supposed to be my boyfriend's turn. Oh, for heaven's sake. The third trial was hand-to-hand combat. All of us already had some experience because of the classes we'd taken before, but the fights were still brutal. I was pretty evenly matched with Matsi. Rena, however, was on another level. There were 5 fights in total: boxing, karate, Muay Thai, mixed martial arts, kickboxing. 2 of my fights were against Matsi, while the other 3 were against Rena. I won both fights against Matsi. Against Rena, I only managed to win 1. And honestly, I was surprised I won even that one. Matsi, boxing and kickboxing, the back-to-back fight format was brutal. We barely had time to recover before the next fight began. The basic rules of boxing are simple: you fight with your fists. You can't strike the back of the head or the lower back, and the valid targets are the head and torso. You win by points or knockout. No grabbing, no kicking, and absolutely no hitting someone who is already down. Matsi had a powerful punch, but she was slow. And in boxing, speed matters. I started with the high guard. Defense wasn't just about protecting myself. It gave me time to think about my next attack while forcing her to waste energy trying to get through my guard. Then I used my favorite combination. My winning attack. A straight punch to the face, followed by a hook to the ribs. Matsi kept coming. So I kept moving. By the third round, she was already exhausted. I waited for an opening and landed a continuous series of clean punches to her chest. 1, 2, 3, enough to make her lose her balance. Sergeant Marcus raised his hand. Laraus wins by majority decision. I stood there breathing heavily. I had won, but I still had another fight waiting for me. And that was Rena, the girl who had been watching me from the beginning. The girl who was supposed to find my weaknesses. And now, I had to fight her. Matsi, kickboxing. After a 3-hour break came the painful, exhausting kickboxing session. Its rules were the opposite of boxing. Kicks and punches were allowed, making the practice even more brutal. Strikes were allowed anywhere above the waist. The only things forbidden were grabbing an opponent to set up a kick, elbow strikes, and knee strikes. Matsi relied heavily on her punches, but she didn't have the same command of her legs that I did. The key wasn't simply to overpower her with strikes, it was to use the right technical strategy. So I kept my distance. I wasn't going to get dragged into her punching game. It was obvious she hit hard. My winning technique was a roundhouse kick to the leg, gradually weakening her and limiting her mobility. Then I followed it with a straight kick to the chest. The deciding moment came in the second round. A powerful kick to her abdomen forced her backward, leaving her defenseless. Sergeant Lillet stopped the fight due to technical superiority. After my big victory, we were given another week to continue training before competing again. This time, it was Rena. Rena, karate, Muay Thai, and mixed martial arts. We were given 3.5-hour breaks between each fight. Even so, I ended up in the hospital. I always made sure to remember the rules. If we broke one, Marcus would beat us like sacks of potatoes. He had left Glenda practically half dead. That fear was constantly running through my mind, and despite everything, in the end, Rina was the one who left me half dead. Fight 1, Karate, Basic Rules, Strike and Retreat. The focus is on control and precision, not brute force. Points are awarded as Ippon, Perfect Strike 3 points, Wizanara, Medium Strike 2 points, and Yuko, Light Strike 1 point. Excessive force, pushing, and grabbing are prohibited. Rina had a perfect sense of distance. I tried to attack quickly, but she was already waiting for me. She defeated me with a chest punch, Ippon. That was her specialty, I thought. Fight 2, Muay Thai Basic Rules, punches, elbows, knees, and kicks are allowed. Valid target areas include the entire body, including the legs and arms. I knew Rina was strong, but she had poor stamina at close range. While defending myself, I took her powerful kicks on my forearms, enduring the pain. My key tactic was to close the distance, something she clearly didn't like. When she tried to kick me, I drove a knee strike into her abdomen. She doubled over in pain. That was my chance. I took advantage of the opening and landed an elbow strike to her shoulder. Fight 3, Mixed Martial Arts, Basic Rules, a mixture of everything, standing combat and ground fighting. Striking and takedowns are allowed. You can win by knockout, submission, the opponent gives up, or points. Striking the eyes or groin is prohibited. Round 1, my initial dominance. I started well. I kept my distance, used defensive kicks, and landed a few clean punches. I used roundhouse kicks to the legs to stop her advances. Rina tried to close the distance twice, but I pushed her back with forearm strikes. By the end of the round, I was ahead on points. Round 2, Rina changes her strategy. Rina understood that she couldn't beat me standing, so she decided to use her greatest advantage, strength and takedowns. She began faking punches to make me raise my guard. As soon as my abdomen and legs were exposed, she used a double leg takedown. She rushed toward me at full speed. She drove her head between my legs. She wrapped her arms around my knees and lifted me off the ground. She threw me hard onto my back. Ground rules. In mixed martial arts, once you're on the ground, your opponent can strike you with all permitted weapons. I landed on my back, dazed from the impact. My arms were spread apart. My defense was completely open. Rina immediately climbed on top of me and took the mount position, a dominant position. Her body weight pinned my chest down. I couldn't move. I couldn't defend myself. The blow was sharp and devastating. The force went straight through my head. I heard a deafening ringing. My vision blurred instantly. My arms went limp. My entire body relaxed. I lost consciousness. Sergeant Marcus saw that I had no defense before the blow and that I immediately went unconscious. He didn't count to 10. He stopped the fight instantly. He ordered Mara to take me to the hospital and tell them that someone had tried to assault me on the street. She obeyed, and the others went with her. When I woke up, my mother and father were right there beside me. What were you doing alone on that street? You could have died, you silly girl. Mum, I'm fine now. Look, don't worry. Thank goodness Mara found you. Can you imagine what would have happened if she hadn't? Dad, calm down. I'm okay. You'll barely be able to walk. Well. But I will. Yes, you will. We're going to make sure of that. Unfortunately, the others lost. And that was where the trap came in. They threatened to stop providing food and financial support for 1 month to the relatives they had chosen to help. Then they sent us to war. To a country we didn't even know the name of. The orders were simple: don't ask questions, steal weapons, eliminate enemy soldiers, steal the blueprints. Back home, everything remained the same. I loved my little brother more and more, even as he grew older and started asking more from Dad. Dad listened to him and actually worked on it, so I felt calm about leaving. My mother overprotected him, but she never really took the time to get to know him, to realize that he was much stronger than he looked. So I brought it up with them. Mum. Dad. About that 6-month trip with some friends. If they let me go. I've recovered now, so. I don't know, Lareus. Do you really have the heart to leave your brother? It's only for a few months. I know, sweetheart, but look at what happened to you. And your father has been having episodes lately because of his trauma, you know. But we've already given the girls the money. Oh, right. Don't tell me you've already bought the plane tickets. Yes, they already did. It wasn't true. But my squad helped me keep the lie going. We had become like sisters. We supported each other, even though I had started feeling something more for Mara. She always cheered me on. We told jokes, made fun of Sergeant Marcus, and became confidants. We shared our stories. She knew about my family, and I knew about hers. She was supporting her parents because her brother was a hopeless drug addict. She worked just to afford a cheap hotel room and ate at low-cost diners. Mara and I saw each other on Saturdays and Sundays. She met my father, and he adored her. My mother didn't even know she existed. And my little brother? He was jealous. A week before I left, Mara and I had a little rendezvous under the moon. We lay on the grass in the small yard outside the house and talked. I'm scared, Lareus. I want to see my parents. You have no idea how much I miss them. Don't be scared. The others and I will watch your back. We'll all be alive to see it happen. Always so encouraging. Just don't overthink it. Let your muscle memory take over. Well, poor muscles of yours. Huh? What are you laughing at? I was remembering that day when Mr. Marcus, with an M for me-eater, that old fart, hit us. You stepped in and took the beating meant for me. After that day, you couldn't even stand looking at him, and I looked at her with the same eyes I used to give her whenever I loved listening to her. I turned toward her. I gently held her cheeks and kissed her, a long kiss. The night watched us as if it were witnessing a kind of magic it had never seen before. The stories of the other girls were typical stories of broken families. Teresa was an orphan who had grown up in an orphanage. Glenda was beaten by her parents, and her only support was her brother. And Sarah was trying to get back the only family she had left, her mother. With them, we developed strategies and exchanged tips, always with sarcasm. Sometimes we pretended to fight just for fun. We made noise, and even when Sergeant Marcus beat us for it, we'd laugh about it afterward, making unnecessary jokes that somehow became even funnier because of the situation. Then came the war. The day before the earthquake, there were 5 phases. Phase 1, the blow. Sergeant Lilith gave me 2 double-edged choices. The first was to swap out one member of my squad. The second was to switch places with Rena and change squads entirely. If you don't choose quickly, there will be consequences for them. With her threats hanging over me, I thought about it coldly. I wasn't going to risk putting any of them in danger. So I answered without hesitation. I'm swapping out Glenda. Understood. On the other side, Rena sent Matsy. She took it badly. Honestly, it was foolish of her to get so upset. Her strategy during our fights had always been to distract me by insulting my family. But as I always say, I'm a leader because of my father. I'm mentally prepared for any blow. I know I can't freeze up. I have to find a way out, then find another solution, and another one after that. Even so, letting Glenda go hurt. Phase 2, battle stations. After the swap, Sergeant Marcus informed us that, since we were the losing squad, we'd been assigned the most dangerous invasion point. A place where we would have no help and no guidance. The survivors who made it to the end would return once their mission was complete, exactly at midnight. If we didn't have everything we were supposed to bring back, we'd be left behind. And if we didn't make it back on time, we'd be stranded there. Understood, squad? Yes, Sergeant Marcus. Matsy's betrayal. Day 3, we completed the first 5 tasks. The last one was to secure the blueprints. We were wounded, exhausted, thirsty, and terrified. I led the way. Mara guided us. Matsy questioned everything. Until she did something unforgivable. And stupid, something that would cost her her life. The soldiers attacked us from a blind spot. Matsy suddenly ran toward them, carrying the blueprints we had barely managed to secure. Mara tried to stop her. Matsy stabbed her. A gunshot rang out. Matsy was hit. I grabbed her by the hair. Then I slashed her throat. I hit her again and again, screaming through my rage. Then I grabbed the map Mara had been carrying. I looked at her. She was closing her eyes for the last time. I knew what that meant. We ran through the chaos. I screamed at the others, "Keep moving. Don't stop." We made it to the helicopter. And they took us home. After that, I never saw Sergeant Marcus or the other girls again. I came back as a different person. But for my little brother and my father, I pretended to be the same Lareus they had always known. Phase 5, the final blow. I was aboard a ship with a deranged man named Q. He wanted revenge against the company that had tortured his family, murdered them, and left him completely alone. He told me that, when the time came, I would help him destroy my own humanoid race. I didn't even know where he was taking us. All I knew was that he had opened fire on another ship, launching grappling lines with small chains attached to them. Then I saw him. My little brother. They had thrown him into a cell. He was nothing but skin and bones. Dark circles surrounded his eyes. His face was filled with sadness. He wasn't a child anymore. I ran to him and hugged him. It's okay. Everything is going to be okay. Then Quizá spoke. Do you know who did this to your brother? The other ship was still under attack. They kept firing at it, nearly bringing it down. Then, a blue beam fired. Everyone froze. Quizá took me aboard the attacking ship. And that's when I saw them. My mother, my father, my sister, Lilith, and Marcus, trapped beneath the wreckage. That's when I finally understood. They were the leaders of the organization. Quizá could read minds, so he already knew what I was thinking. He looked at me. That's right. Now do whatever you want. Then he added, but remember this, Marcus was the one who supported Matsi when she tried to betray you. His brother was one of the sergeants. He handed me a gun. And all I could see was Mara. Her eyes closing. Her body surrounded by her own blood. I fired without hesitation. I aimed for places that would knock them unconscious rather than kill them. My parents screamed, "What are you doing?" They were trying to rescue you, sweetheart. Stop, sister. My father stepped forward. He tried to take the gun from me and carry me back to the boat. Let go of me, Dad. No. I looked at Quizá. Quizá, do something. Before they could go any further, Quizá put my entire family to sleep. And without them knowing it. From that moment on, I belonged to him. I was going to work for Quizá and his alien faction. But I had one condition, okay. But I need to make a pact with you. I looked at my family. Make the children children again. Give them normal lives. Make my family forget me. Replace their memories with something else. Erase the fact that Sandra worked at Area 51. Make them believe she was a teacher instead. I looked at my father. And give my father a radical change. Get him out of the Navy. Quizá listened, then he answered, of course. I'll do all of that, but you must promise to support us in everything. Once you've fulfilled everything I've asked of you, you'll say goodbye to them. I'll give you the chance to explain everything. I'll create a new world where they can live normal lives. They won't completely forget that they once lived another life. Even if they can't consciously remember the details, they'll carry the feeling that something about their lives isn't right, and maybe, one day, fragments of those memories will return. I looked at him. All right, part 3, the plan. Quizá, we have to get into the facility. The cameras will show us the people we're sending in. There's an underground entrance that leads to 3 rooms. We were held captive in 2 of them. I need your sister to identify the entrance once she wakes up. As for Marcus and Lilith, I'll put collars on them that deliver electric shocks, enough to leave them immobilized for hours if they try to escape, hurt us, or scream. We'll explain the situation and take them to the facility so they can guide us to the exact location. Only 20 of us managed to escape. My wife and children are still in that other room. So help me get them back, Laraus. Okay, but we need to be strategic about the guards patrolling the area. When my mother and I arrived, I spotted 3 men hiding among the trees and in the woods. That's how I found them, so if you want to rescue them without losing anyone else, your friends can't go. Neither can you. And neither can I. Instead, send my sister with Lilith. She's her superior, and Marcus can go with them as an escort. Once they're inside, if any of you can teleport, you could open a portal and get them out. Chewie. I can do that, but I need to see where they are first. Otherwise, I won't know where to send them. I'll put many cameras inside the collars so we can watch everything they're seeing. They'll be invisible, too. But to avoid unnecessary risks, we can't tell them the truth. We'll lie and tell them they'll be released if they complete a task. We'll send them into a dangerous area and use that situation to force them to escape. Laraus. Fine. You guys handle it. I'll stay with Emilio and the kids. I don't want to see Mom or Dad when you take them away. Q. All right, they've showered and eaten. Just keep this in mind, your sister and your father did things we can't forgive. And yet, we're sparing their lives. Believe me, Laraus. What we're doing to them is nothing compared to what they did to us. Laraus, have it your way. Just get your people back and keep your promise. I was with Emilio and his friends inside the cell. Surprisingly, it was cozy, comfortable, and spacious. But all I could think about was everything Emilio had been through. I blamed Sandra. And I hated my dad for leaving him behind. Even though Emilio just kept smiling at me and hugging me like everything was fine. Then he asked me to sing his favorite song. I'm okay, sis. You know why? Because you're here. With me. Besides, this huge ship feels like our new home, and it feels awesome being on the move. I laughed and gave him a playful look. Then I lowered my voice into the deep, slow voice that always made him laugh, no matter what. Yeah, we look like travelers on a spaceship. Whoosh. He burst out laughing. Then, with that sweet little expression I knew so well, he asked, "Sing my song? I want my friends to hear your voice." I smiled. Okay. I felt a little embarrassed, but I did it. I used to sing that song whenever he had a bad day. Whenever he came running to me crying, I'd hold him, comfort him, and calm him down by singing the song from Tarzan. I knew how much he loved that movie. The first time I sang it to him, he recognized it immediately. "That's the Tarzan song, right?" He wiped the tears from his eyes, smiled. And a few seconds later, he was already asleep. I heard noises. I had been asleep, so I quickly opened my eyes and left my brother, who had been curled up beside me, sleeping peacefully. Trying not to make a sound, I quietly went to see what was happening. When I got there, I saw a green creature with a snake-like face about to attack Sandra. "You were the snitch? I'm going to kill you." Marcus and Lilith were immobilized, looking completely ridiculous. I didn't even bother with them. I went straight for the snake-faced guy. I grabbed him by the arm, pulled him toward me, and drove a strike into his lower abdomen. His wife was there too. She rushed at me, trying to punch me, but I dodged and twisted her wrist. Then I got serious. "Look, we came here to rescue you. I don't know what happened between all of you, but from what I can see, there's a lot of history here. So I'm asking for a truce." I pointed towards Sandra. "She doesn't owe you anything anymore, and you don't owe her anything either. So, please, let's keep the peace." My parents and Sandra stood there pale, completely unable to process what had just happened. The snake-faced guy and his wife backed away, glaring at me. Then Q approached. "Can we talk?" "Yeah." He took me away from everyone else and explained what had happened. We did exactly what we planned. Before they woke up, we put the collars on them. They woke up after we'd already arrived. First, we threatened Marcus, then Lilith. We told them they were going to take Sandra in as a captive, but they asked for permission to retrieve something they needed for a mission. We allowed it. We gave them very specific instructions: lock the door using the key around your neck. Free everyone inside and let them leave. We'll come for you afterward. They refused at first. They said the others would try to kill them. So, obviously, I proposed a negotiation. They only agreed on one condition: they would be allowed to leave with you and your family. I didn't want to accept, but I remembered the plan. So I said yes. Then I explained everything to your sister. She refused. So I had to tell her about your father. He was the one leading the mission with his soldiers. We tried to defend ourselves, and some of them died during the fighting. None of this would have happened if she hadn't discovered what she stole. So we had no choice. We handcuffed her, put a bag over her head, and covered her mouth with tape. Your father knocked me unconscious. Chewie intervened and almost killed him. I looked at Q. "He almost killed my father?" "Yes," he continued. "You distracted Chewie with your singing. We barely managed to save your father. Q eventually put him to sleep. Then we lowered them down with a rope. Your sister was genuinely screaming, so the guards believed that everything she was going through. And just as you guessed," he paused. "There were hundreds of guards surrounding the facility and the forest. They were everywhere. Your father and Lilith got inside easily. Once the door closed, Chewie did his part. He opened all the cages. After that, all they had to do was press a button. But then they left your sister behind and ran outside, shouting for the guards to chase them and make sure they didn't escape. Several guards had already entered the facility, so I ordered one of my friends, someone who could fly, to bring your sister back." Q's expression changed. "Unfortunately, they shot him. He fell while Chewie watched him go down. We had to force Chewie to close the portal. Later, he opened another one to search for whoever had done it. I stayed silent. The shock controls and collars were already working, but they could barely keep Chewie under control. He almost killed them." Marcus screamed. "He's paralyzed now. We don't know if he'll ever be able to move again." Lilith tried to escape first. She ended up in almost the same condition as Marcus. But her collar overheated and caused a severe burn. Once we removed the controls, I teleported Marcus. Then Lilith. I stared at him. All of this happened because the man who fell was Chewie's brother. Chewie pointed toward the snake-faced creature. "And the man you hit? His name is Gra. He's Chewy's other brother. Crow was the one who managed to calm Chewy down. He told him who was on the ship. Chewy paused. And when Chewy found out who your sister was, he shook his head. He completely lost control. For a moment, neither of us said anything. Then Chewy looked toward the others. But on the other hand, he smiled faintly. My wife and children are here. And now it's time for you to say goodbye. I looked at him. You mean, you have 10 hours. 10 hours to tell them whatever you need to tell them. He continued. Lika has gone to save another part of the world. There's a forest there. She created a transparent barrier around the entire area. Only people with honest and merciful hearts can pass through it. She's also been warning the survivors. We're heading there now. He looked toward Marcus and Lilith. So there's one more thing you need to know. We'll cover Marcus and Lilith with an invisibility shield. We still need them. I felt terrible for Chewy, Crow, and his wife, but my sister would always be my sister, no matter what stood between us. At the same time, I felt a deep sadness because I had to go get my little brother and bring him back to our parents. When I found Emilio, he was lying there peacefully. I gently woke him up. He stood, and I wrapped my arms around him as tightly as I could. Through my tears, I told him, I love you, Emilio. You're going to be happy again, he smiled. I already am. Because you're here with me. That made it even harder to take him away. But I did. When we returned, Mum and Dad broke down crying. They hugged him like they had never held him before. Chewy took his family away, leaving the 4 of us alone. Mum looked at me with disappointment. What was all that? Look at me. Where did you learn to fight like that? You were still in high school, and you hadn't practiced karate in over 8 years. And tell me, why have you been avoiding us? Why are you treating your sister and your father like this? Dad immediately added, you knew I was the one piloting that helicopter. My sister suddenly stepped forward and slapped me across the face. Answer me. What's wrong with you? How long have you been with them? Why are you on their side? They're not human. They don't feel things the way we do. How long have you known them? Answer me. Don't just stand there staring at Emilio. I was furious. So I finally let everything out. First of all, how do you know they don't have feelings? They saved Emilio. You know what I've been through. I took a breath, barely holding myself together. And you? Why did you let yourself become their scapegoat? They used you, and you just let it happen. You played the victim. I supported you, and what did you do? You sent me away. You let them recruit me and put me under some hard ass who trained me like a soldier in a squad. I looked at Dad. And Dad, there's something I never told you. My voice cracked. Mara was with me. I glanced toward Marcus. But that man over there ordered her betrayal. He had her killed. Silence. He killed her and left the rest of us in a place where we were supposed to die. But I refused to let that happen. I looked back at my father. From the moment you sent me there, he threatened to put you in prison and leave us out on the streets just to get you out of trouble. While you were living comfortably in a luxury hotel. I swallowed hard. And Dad, I didn't know they had powers. Maybe they read it from your mind. Maybe someone else told them. I don't know. My anger slowly turned into exhaustion. But you can't keep living like this. I looked at all of them. You have a family that loves you. You have a son who's almost 6 years old and desperately wants your attention. And you have a wife who finally deserves to be free. I wiped the tears from my face. But I don't want any more stupid mistakes. So I made a deal with them. My sister stared at me. They're going to erase me from your memories. Nobody spoke. They're going to replace me. They're going to change your lives. I looked at Sandra. Sandra, you'll become the sister I always was to you. A successful teacher. Then Mum. Mum, you'll be a housewife who spends her time taking care of herself and staying healthy. Finally, I looked at Dad. And Dad, you'll become a university professor. My voice became quieter. I never existed. I smiled sadly. But it won't hurt you. Your lives will simply become something different. You won't remember the things you knew before. You won't remember me. I looked at Emilio. So, forgive me. I knelt down in front of him. And Emilio, he looked at me. I know you're going to be a good boy. You'll be happy without me. You'll grow up healthy, free, and without all this trauma. I smiled through my tears. Your friends will still be there. And the trip you took, it'll become a much happier memory. I hugged him one last time. Okay, my brave little soldier. They were left speechless, weeping inconsolably and begging me not to do anything stupid, and asking for my forgiveness, while Emilio clung to my foot, sobbing. Q and another person arrived and put them back to sleep by touching each of their heads. I stood motionless. Q led me away to join the other children, saying we were almost there. He explained that the children's memories had been replaced. They now knew who their families were and that they would be reunited, and that, upon waking, they would be told this was to be their new home. So, I waited for them and the children to leave while I continued to cry. Kuros, standing at a distance, looked at me with pity, though he vented his feelings as he walked past me, saying, "Well, you're forgiven. You're brave for just an ordinary teenager, you know. I admire you. You protected them. They're safe, and so are you. But things happen for a reason, maybe you're destined for other great things. To me, you're like a goddess now. Anyway, I'll leave you to it. I don't know, just think about it. I want to thank you on behalf of my brother. He was the oldest of the three of us. He was overprotective when we were kids. He looked after us and never left us alone. He taught me how to fight, though it was never really my thing, so he'd get angry and say, 'Darn it, we're going to have to defend you all the time.' Later, when we grew up, I met my wife and looked after them, while Chewie was the one who took care of him regarding the toxins he was exposed to. But when they hunted us down like beasts, my brother would always shout to me from the next cell over, 'We're going to get out of here. And I'll make sure to see you with your wife and kids.' We got caught because we let our guard down. The last day I saw him, I said, 'Brother, forgive me for not looking after you the way Chewie did, and for judging you.' He answered with a laugh, 'You never had to look after me, forgive me.' So many days were like that, hearing my own wailing. That's no way to live. And it was the truth, wasn't it? I won't forget those moments or all the memories with him, not even if I had to. But with your little brother, it's different, in a way. He'll protect you. Turn that into the strength you need to ensure you see him grow up. The last thing I'll say is this, we hope you stay alive. You still have things to do. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm leaving." After he left, I found myself thinking back to the day Alphen didn't hate Mara so much, a day when I cried with so much joy that my stomach actually hurt. Emilio was in his room watching TV while we were planning a trip to the movies. He overheard us and begged to come along. It's just a girls' outing. I want to go." "No, yes. No, yes." I said no. "Go to your room." I said yes. "If you don't take me, I'll tell on you for not coming home the other night." "What? That's not true." "Well, I'll tell Dad. If I may put in my 2 cents. "No, I agree that he should go." "Yeah, right, I'm serious. What's the catch?" "It's a horror movie, Mara." "Well, let's watch a kids movie instead." "Yeah, sure, as if. Come on, it'll be fun." "Why are you poking her in the ribs?" "To convince her." "Fine. Larus, let's go, please." "Okay, Emilio. Call me little brother or pretty carrot. And call me sister or sister Larus." "Alright, let's go, siblings. Don't call us that." "Okay, let's go." During the big movie, I couldn't help noticing that Marcus and Lilith were following us, though I didn't realize until later that it was actually a meeting with some guy. I locked eyes with Mara, but she put me at ease and insisted we ignore the situation, even the possibility of bombs, though I couldn't stop thinking about it. Afterward, we went to a mall far away from the other one, somewhere those two couldn't figure out our plans. "Let's get pizza." "Okay, let's go. And tell me, Mara, why do you kiss my sister on the lips when you say goodbye?" "Well, we're girlfriends, but only you know. Not even Dad, who adores you." "No, okay, I don't hate you that much anymore." Look, that's where we were. A fire caused by a bomb explosion has been reported. So far, more than 200 people are dead and another 100 are injured. If you recognize anyone among those affected, please call the number on your screen. Good thing we left when we did, huh, sis? Yeah. Really good. Later that evening, I talked to Mara. "Do you think someone was trying to kill us?" "Maybe. Or maybe they were after someone else. There was this really strange-looking guy there." "Yeah. I don't know what to think." "Stop thinking about it so much and go to sleep." From the window, Emilio suddenly shouted, "I can see you guys, I'm leaving now." "All right. See you tomorrow." I stopped. "Wait. What about my kiss?" Mara glanced toward the house. "Your little brother is watching us from the window, baby." "So what?" "I still want my kiss." "All right, then. We kissed. From the window came the loudest reaction imaginable. Mara and I burst out laughing. Bye. Now go to sleep, or the boogeyman is going to come get you. The boogeyman isn't real. Of course he is. The boogeyman is real. No, he isn't. Turn on the light. No. He'll come for you. It's not funny anymore. It is to me. I didn't notice the door opening behind us. It was Dad. He had overheard everything and decided to join in. He lowered his voice into the creepiest tone he could manage. The boogeyman is here. I jumped so hard that I accidentally crushed Emilio. Larus, you're crushing me. Very funny, Dad. You started it. I know, Dad smiled. So, what did you two do today? We ate, hung out with Mara, went to the movies, and had pizza for dinner. Sounds like a good day, he yawned. Alright, I'm going to bed. Tell Mum I left some burritos for her in the microwave. Yep. I'll tell her. That night never really came. Instead, we received a call from the hospital. Mara had been found with severe burns covering much of her body. On the drive to pick her up, she wouldn't stop looking at me through the rearview mirror. I thought we'd already seen each other. We were at that mall, but no. We didn't see you. Who were you with? Mara, she frowned. Who's Mara? A friend. And why didn't you tell me about her? I sighed. Because you've never liked my friends. You're rude to them, and eventually you make them stop talking to me. This isn't the time to argue, Larus. She asked. I don't care who started it. Silence. Okay. That was my family, and somehow, I could feel them being taken away from me piece by piece. First their memories. Then, who knew what would disappear next? It felt like there was no way to undo any of it. For anyone else, it would have been a tragedy. At least they wouldn't remember the pain of having their daughter, the daughter who had never quite felt as loved as her sister, ripped away from them. But I still felt it. All of it, and all I wanted was to sleep, to recover whatever strength I had left before the next blows came. I had no idea how unimaginably hard they were going to hit. My life was becoming a walking nightmare. A living hell with no easy way out. Part, revenge, Larus, wake up. We need to talk. A week had passed since we arrived. Q and his gang, as I called them, had become the guards of a prison they claimed was the new world they had built for us. In reality, we were living underground inside a shelter designed to prevent a war from breaking out against them. They, unlike us, were free beneath the open sky. Q and the others had decided to use me. They summoned me specifically to tell me that I would now be the president, responsible for establishing order and hierarchy. I immediately objected. If they wanted to use me, they would first have to earn my trust. I demanded that they begin by telling me what my sister actually knew about them, why they intended to use the famous prophecy, and why they believed I had anything to do with it. I also demanded the authority to impose permanent punishment on dishonest people, those considered a plague upon society. Punishments such as taking away their memories and motor functions. But that came with conditions of my own. They would also have to rescue defenseless or kidnapped children, women, and animals. Q and the others simply stared at me. Q was the first to react. Okay. But keep in mind that this is a restricted area. We'd need to establish more than one stronghold like this, and we'd have to speak with your squad and the others. As for your sister, I'll answer that, but first, sit down and have some tea. Before your sister went into hiding, Marcus had given her a mission. He asked her to help verify an analysis that only she could understand. That was how he brought her to us. Later, we tried to explain what was really happening. The object she had found in that place was a safeguard, something that was never supposed to be removed. It looked like nothing more than a piece of paper, but written upon it was a spell belonging to the protector of nature and the chakras, which is what we are. Pakamama, great-grandmother, let us rise with healing power. Let the 7 chakras shine forth, and let the ancient prophecy of the great woman be empowered to protect this land. Jañakatak Wakiski. The land shall be defended. Let those who would harm the earth be destroyed. Jañakatak Wakiski. Doors beneath the great sea shall open, revealing what lies beneath this world. Jañakatak Wakiski. Ancient beings shall rise from beneath the earth, deceiving humanity alongside the creatures of this world. Jañakatak Wakiski. Great woman, goddess of peace, only she shall tame those ancient beings. Jañakatak Wakiski. Jañakatak Wakiski. Vivió paused. The spell spoke of a destruction that would end everyone who touched the earth. Doors would open beneath the sea, and beneath them, there would be a hell filled with prehistoric creatures, creatures that had been mistaken for ordinary animals. Only a powerful goddess of peace would be able to tame them. He looked at me. At first, we thought that person was your sister. The lights suddenly went out. A moment later, an image appeared. It was shocking. A woman stood at the center of it. She looked like my sister. But she also looked like me. Q stared at the image. According to what we discovered, he pointed toward it. Part of this image is contained within the prophecy. And for the first time, I wondered whether they had brought me here because they needed a president, or because they believed I was the one the prophecy had been waiting for. Then you arrived, and we discovered that you were the exact reincarnation of this navigator. After everything you've heard, we're going to establish 9 strongholds in safe locations, each with a rescue team. But you will be in charge of your own people. Don't worry, we'll give you another team, one that will follow your orders, but I also need you to help us deal with the creatures. Please, you're our only hope. If you don't tame them starting now, they'll destroy our stronghold. And then you won't be able to use the pests the way you want, nor will you be able to rescue the defenseless from those creatures. I stared at him, completely stunned, and a little amused. Are you serious? Ha ha ha. Don't tell me that now I'm not human. Am I supposed to give up being human and become a goddess for everyone? Ha ha ha. No, seriously. What's the plan? They all stared at me. Q remained serious as he leaned toward a man with a hawk-like face and whispered something into his ear. The hawk-faced man suddenly spread his wings. Before I even understood what was happening, he flew straight toward me and teleported us to Peru, the very place I had been running away from all along. He took me to the same place where Marcus had recruited me and introduced me to my squad, and there was Glenda. She had survived. She was firing her weapon at something that looked like a dinosaur. That was when I stopped laughing about Q's whole goddess idea. Let me go. We have to save her. Let go of me. I kicked the hawk-faced guy in the groin. Then, without thinking twice, I launched myself at the creature. I grabbed it by the neck and held on as if I were riding a wild bull. Glenda stared at me in complete shock. Where did you come from? What the hell are you doing here? I stopped listening. Because in the next few seconds, I saw them, images, memories. The creatures had been born from an ancient being who had once betrayed humanity, but ultimately forgave it. He sacrificed himself and was reincarnated to protect everyone who followed him. His punishment began with an attack that failed to kill him because another being protected him and bought him enough time to survive. From that protection came a new humanity, a humanity built around beliefs that, over time, became corrupted and twisted. Eventually, the benevolent being who had protected him and allowed his reincarnation withdrew that protection. And the creatures were sent here, to destroy every being that stood in their way. But there was one condition. If another human being was ever willing to sacrifice the thing they valued most in order to protect humanity, then mercy would be granted. The creatures would no longer stand against humanity. They would stand beside the human who had made that sacrifice. And then, I saw myself. I was standing among them. The creatures were bowing before me. Then everything went black. I lost consciousness. When I opened my eyes, I was still in the same place. Something was licking my hands. Then my cheeks. I slowly opened my eyes. A pack of dinosaurs surrounded me. Glenda was still there, pointing her gun at them. I calmly stood up. Relax. It's okay. I looked at the creatures. Apparently, I'm their goddess. I smiled. They won't hurt us. One by one, the dinosaurs lowered themselves before me. Glenda just stared. Horrified, shocked, terrified. I walked toward her. I need you. She looked at me. It looks like we're going to have to gather the squads. Glenda straightened herself and answered firmly, yes, goddess, whatever you ask, I'll do. We both started laughing, because underneath all of that, I was still me. The hawk-faced man finally approached us. That hit really hurt, you know. We definitely didn't plan for that. He looked at the dinosaurs. But it turned out better than expected. He reached for his communicator. I'll call Chewie. Then he made the strangest sound I'd ever heard. I just stared at him. And somehow, a few moments later, we were already back aboard the ship. When we arrived, I learned that cameras had been installed outside the strongholds. From inside, we could see everything. And what we saw was terrifying. All of the creatures were searching for me, but the people inside the strongholds couldn't see them. The exterior view had been covered with an artificial image of the sky, keeping everyone inside from realizing what was happening outside. Quizá looked at me. They wanted me to go out first with the people we'd rescued. Then, I would have to step outside alone. Face the dinosaurs. Face the pests. And find out whether being their goddess was actually enough to stop them. I spent about an hour processing everything that had happened. I still couldn't believe any of it was real. It felt like a dream. Glenda and I caught up on everything, and I learned that she had been with Teresa and Sarah on the day of the great earthquake. They had tried to reach the ship, but they were told, only children are being taken aboard. For the next 5 days, after they stopped letting us through, the ships kept attacking and taking the children. There weren't many left by then, but we started losing our minds. There was no internet, no homes, no food. The supermarkets had been destroyed. Teresa started hallucinating about her family and even tried to attack us. Then another earthquake hit. A rock, or something I never saw, hit me, and I passed out. When I woke up, I was back where Marcus had originally recruited us. I tried to find him, but the only thing I found was that dinosaur. I told her not to worry about it for the moment. There was enough food for her and everyone else upstairs. Once we got out, we'd give it to them as a peace offering. Then we'd start looking for the girls, even the ones from the other squad. Despite everything Lilith and Marcus had put us through, we'd always treated one another with some degree of respect. That was when I told her about Marcus's betrayal. Her expression immediately changed. Where is he? They have him locked up. No food. He's in a cage one of Q's people built. And what are you going to do to him? Make him pay. I paused. We'll torture them along with the others. Glenda looked at me strangely. When one leader turns another into a puppet, they strip away everything that gives them power. Money. Religion. Politics. Technology. If we take those things away, we have a chance to build something better. Glenda continued staring at me. Then her voice softened. So tell me, how have you been dealing with your family? She hesitated. You must miss them, right? They'll be there when we get out. I didn't really know you before we switched places, but Mara was so sociable. She used to tell me about you. How much you loved your brother, and how you'd do the impossible for him. A lump formed in my throat. For a moment, I could barely breathe. I took a deep breath. She was right, then she was right. I will do the impossible for him. Those people took away the thing I loved most, the thing I loved most. I'm doing this so my brother can grow up with honor. So he'll be honest. So he'll never know the kind of ambition that eventually destroyed us. Mara died because of Marcus. And he's going to pay where it hurts most, through his father. You remember she told us she worked there with him? Well, I'll find him. And I'll show his wife and daughters exactly what kind of man he really is. Just like anyone who's committed unspeakable things, I'll expose them to the people they love most. Glenda looked at me. Her voice trembled. I'll support you no matter what. But you're better than those pieces of garbage. Why don't you just leave them outside and let them die? I stepped away from her. My anger remained buried beneath my voice. Q and his group want them sent to the different strongholds. Whatever they decide, that's what happens. You and I will be the voice of command. I'm not asking you to agree with me. I'm not asking you to help me. I only need you to follow orders. Leave the dirty work to me. She looked at me uncertainly. I held her gaze. Do you trust me? Of course, you saved my life. We hugged. Then Q appeared. It's time to go. But before we left, he leaned toward me and whispered, you really came up with that plan on the way back? You're incredible. And yes, it is her. I remained firm in my decision. I was going to do exactly what I'd said. Even though they had never actually said those things. I had invented the whole conversation. I had planned it myself. 1 week earlier, I stood in front of Marcus and Lilith, trying to decide what to do with them. They stared back at me. Neither said a word. Q had asked me if I wanted to question them. I don't even know what to ask them. I just want to kill them. Lilith finally spoke. She could barely get the words out. Every syllable made her writhe in pain. Not everyone who betrayed you is here. That includes members of my squad. Let us go, and I'll give you the chips for each of them. I left them at my house. But please, take this thing off me. It feels like my throat is on fire. Marcus suddenly tried to hit her. I didn't let him. I attacked him instead. I kept hitting him until he lost consciousness. I had gone too far. Others had to step in and pull me away. Once I finally calmed down, I turned back toward Lilith. First, give me proof. Or at least explain what you're talking about. Lilith looked at me. Then she answered, who do you think told the soldiers where you were? Besides Matsy. She didn't have anything on her except the knife she used to stab Mara. I was the one who went after your brother. Well, he was my son, after all, and Matsy, the one you killed, was involved too. So I'm not lying when I tell you that my son has the chips, and I have his. He promised me he would kill all of you. So I went after your brother. But that brat. He's stronger than he looks. The moment she finished speaking, I struck her across the face hard enough to knock her unconscious. I looked at Q, remove the collar. Replace it with invisible restraints that work the same way. When she wakes up, I want the tracking chip, the one belonging to her son. 5 hours later, Lilith opened her eyes. Crow and Hawkface volunteered to accompany me. Lilith wasn't lying. She reached into her shoe and pulled out a small tracking device. There, she said weakly. The red dot. That's him. I stared at the screen. He wasn't far away. That surprised me. As we moved toward his location, I kept my eyes on Lilith. I wasn't going to let her disappear. Eventually, we reached a river. A young man was kneeling beside the water, drinking. Q looked at me. Now. We released Lilith's restraints and let her approach him. Son, he looked up. Mum? They ran toward each other and embraced. Lilith whispered something into his ear. Run. He immediately turned and ran. I laughed. The invisible restraint activated. Lilith collapsed from the shock. Mum. Her son turned around and ran back toward her. That was when I stepped forward. Q knocked him unconscious before he could reach her. Lilith's expression changed instantly. You son of a bitch. I'll kill you. I'll kill you. The second shock was stronger. For a moment, I thought she was going to die. We restrained her son and removed the tracking chips. They were all active, and then we discovered something important. Jessica, Maria, Wendy, and Rena were in Madrid, on the other side of the world. They were alive. The signals were moving. The remaining girls were much closer to Mexico, so we went after them. Teresa was barely alive when we found her, but one of Q's people had healing abilities. He managed to stabilize her. Later, we found Sarah. She was alive, alone in the wilderness, trying to catch a rabbit. She failed. We called out to her. She froze. Then she recognized me. She ran toward me and hugged me. You're real. She pulled away, staring at my face. It really is you. Yeah. We have a shelter. Come with us. I need to ask you for a favor. What kind of favor? I need you to stay hidden for a week and a half with the other girls. I explained everything about Marcus and Lilith. But before trusting her, I asked Q whether Sarah had been involved. He told me she hadn't. So I trusted her. The next day, we tried to locate Glenda, Jessica, Maria, Wendy, and Rena. Things went wrong. But Hawkface refused to give up. For 3 days, he searched from the air while I continued coordinating the rescue. Then, an hour before my conversation with Glenda, he finally found them. We gathered everyone together. And that's when I decided to use Glenda as bait. If she was still working with Marcus, or anyone connected to him, I would make her talk. Sarah and Teresa were brought into the second part of the plan. They kept the other girls informed while we continued putting pressure on Marcus, Lilith, and Lilith's son. They had barely eaten for days. We wanted them exhausted, confused, desperate. That same day, we would release them to the people outside. We would tell them there was going to be a truce. We would let them enter the stronghold alongside Glenda. Glenda would believe we had a plan. And she would be right. We did have a plan, but there was another part she didn't know about. We weren't only bringing them inside to negotiate. We were bringing them inside to uncover the truth. To identify every ally they had, and, if necessary, to finally discover who had been pulling the strings from the beginning. I looked toward the others. For the first time since Mara died, I wasn't simply reacting to what happened to me. I was making the moves, and that frightened me more than any dinosaur ever could. The first assembly we stepped outside with nearly 200 people. The moment they saw the beings standing around the fortress, the shouting began. Anger filled the air. Some people screamed. Others threw things. My own family was among them. I could feel my temper rising. For the third time, the healer placed a hand on my shoulder. Nobody noticed him. His invisibility made him practically impossible to detect. I took a deep breath. Then I grabbed the megaphone. Everyone, please listen. I understand why you're angry. I really do. But this is the only safe place you have. These beings saved you. They gave you shelter, food, protection, and space when almost everything outside was collapsing. Some of you were angry because you weren't allowed to build houses. Fine. Then let's solve that problem. Don Angel, Ramiro, and Don Tono will provide the materials. You'll build homes in the trees, working alongside them. There is more than enough space here. We can use this area for other things, and before you complain again, remember something, people from these fortresses have already gone out to rescue survivors across Latin America. 4 of our strongholds were attacked by the very creatures you're afraid of. They risked their lives for you. So, before anything else, show some gratitude. Thank you. The crowd gradually became quieter. Someone muttered, "It's the least they can do. They're aliens. They never paid taxes." Another person nodded, "Besides, this isn't even their land. They don't want to dominate us." "Shut up, you loudmouth. Your grandmother's the loudmouth." "Mum, please. Just sit down and eat. Don't tell me what to do, Sandra." "Honey, calm down." "You calm down." Emilio suddenly laughed. "Mum looks like that lizard-faced guy when she's angry." "Emilio," he burst out laughing. For the first time that day, people laughed instead of screaming. And somehow, that was enough. The truth about Glenda, after everyone had eaten, Chewie disappeared into the ship. The doors closed. A few seconds later, everything around us vanished. Teleportation, we reappeared outside the fortress. The girls were waiting. Marcus, Lilith, and Lilith's son stood nearby. Then Glenda saw them. Her face went completely pale. Her knees gave out. "I'm sorry," she began crying. "They forced me. They threatened my family. But they did it anyway. They took everything from me." Chewie looked at me. He had already read her mind. "She isn't lying." I walked toward her. "I didn't bring you here to kill you." She looked up. "I only need you as bait." Her expressions collapsed. "I'm sorry, Glenda. But don't ever mention Mara again. Just like I won't mention your family." She stared at me. "They're alive." Her eyes widened. "We found them on a ship yesterday. You'll see them again. Forgive me for trading you. They had their sights on you, on us, and on these people. I still don't know exactly what they wanted. But after this, we won't see each other again. You'll go home." Glenda couldn't answer. She simply cried. Mara's parents. When the surviving families were finally recovered, I found Mara's parents. They were exhausted, thin, and barely holding themselves together. I approached them with a knot in my throat. "Mr. Peep? Mrs. Maria, yes? You're Mara's parents?" "Yes. Yes. Where is she?" I couldn't breathe for a moment. Then I forced myself to speak. "I'm sorry, Mara died. Her mother frowns. Can we see her?" "Yes." I handed them the photographs and the belongings we had recovered. Then came the question I had been dreading. "Who were you to her?" I swallowed. "Her girlfriend." They looked at me. "Her girlfriend?" "Yes." "I'm so sorry for your loss." Mrs. Maria broke down. "It was our fault." "It can't be." "I can't breathe." Her husband held her. "Darling, she's here. She's not suffering anymore. Breathe with me." I stayed silent. There was nothing I could say that would make that pain disappear. But I owed Mara something. So we kept her belongings. Her photographs, her clothes, and the remains we had recovered. Her parents were placed under special protection inside the fortress. Nobody was supposed to know. I hadn't protected Mara when I was supposed to. This was the least I could do. The 5 strongholds. Q eventually divided the survivors among the new strongholds. Sarah became one of the main coordinators. Rena worked on reconnecting with her father. Wendy, the oldest of the girls at 32, was searching for her husband and the son she had believed had died during the war. Falcon found him. He was alive, and once again, families that had believed that they had lost everything were united. The creatures were distributed among the 5 strongholds. Hundreds of them. The remaining members of the organization were tracked down. 10 people were identified as being directly connected to the conspiracy. One by one, they were captured. For the first time, the system wasn't being controlled by Marcus or Lilith. It was being controlled by us. The journey to Madrid later, we traveled toward Madrid. The dinosaurs moved alongside us while a gigantic marine creature carried part of the group through the water. I touched its enormous head. The sound it made wasn't frightening. It showed me images. Its family, its memories, its home. I finally understood something. They weren't monsters. They were creatures trying to protect what they loved. Just like us, Q suddenly broke the silence. Hey, girl. How about a traveling song? I don't know any. I do. Fine. I'll listen. But if you ruin it, I'm interrupting. Q began singing nonsense. You who. I stared at him. That doesn't rhyme. It doesn't have to. Actually, I'm already bored. Boom. I killed the song. The marine creature suddenly splashed us. I laughed. Oh. She liked it. Q looked at the creature. She went crazy. Chewie immediately interrupted. Everyone, pay attention to what's ahead, Q sighed. Come on, Chewie. We're in the middle of the ocean. What could possibly happen? Chewie looked at him. That's exactly what your cousin said before we ended up in a laboratory. That was you. And people called me boring. For a few minutes, nobody spoke. Then I pulled out the food. Grapes. Q immediately reached for them. I love you, girl. Q laughed. Don't drop them. Too late, the grapes fell. I stared at Q. You owe me 2 bottles. He looked completely innocent. I was checking the temperature of the water. And, perfect for swimming. I shook my head. For a moment, everything felt normal. The new routine when we finally returned, we were exhausted, Chewie sighed. One at a time. I can teleport you, but I'm not carrying everyone. Q collapsed. I need a month off. Hawkface laughed. You need more than that. Eagle crossed his arms. Stop whining. I worked longer. Q stretched. Finally, home. I smiled. Good night, idiots. Chewie groaned. Walk faster. I'm tired of holding this thing. Before we separated, I asked, how do you think Crow is doing? Chewie smiled. Fine. He's a good father. I thought about Crow and his strange family. They're intense. That's putting it mildly. We laughed. Q yawned. Let's not wake up until next week. Deal. Chewie looked at me. You have my support. Q nodded. I'll help you. Eagle added. I'll be your bodyguard. Hawkface raised his hand. And I'll be the second. I smiled. For once, I wasn't alone. 1 week later, we were still resting. Then, bang. The door opened. No knock, no warning. Just another assignment. A new game for the children. Training, food, communication between fortresses. Rescue missions. Every day brought something else. There was no clock. No schedule, no retirement. Nobody asked whether we were ready. The world simply kept hitting us. Again, and again, and again. I finally looked at the others. Guys, I think it's time to work. Chewie stood up reluctantly. Yeah, I've rested enough. I grabbed the map. Let's get food and check the other fortresses. We need to know if anyone is missing anything. Q stretched. Fine. Q aside, back to work. I looked toward the horizon. The old world was gone. The new one wasn't perfect. It wasn't peaceful, and it certainly wasn't safe. But for the first time, we were building it ourselves. Part 5. The games begin. Only a month had passed, yet it felt as though we had lived through another lifetime. The first problem was the collars. We had to reduce their power. Some people hadn't survived because they refused to follow orders and repeatedly triggered the electrical shocks. The damage had become fatal. So we changed the system. The collars would still hurt, they would still leave that terrifying sensation of being close to death. But they would no longer kill. It wasn't a good solution. It was simply the only one we had. Q stood in front of the people wearing collars, holding a tray in his hands. Attention. Those wearing collars will distribute the food today. The serving trays are over there. Someone collapsed into a chair. The pain. No. I can't. Stand up. Q looked around. I already set up the chairs. Now serve the food. Another person hesitated. Can I take some? I'm just hungry. Q sighed. Slavery doesn't exist anymore. Take whatever you need. Salads, water, beans, rice, lentils. Whatever we managed to salvage from the destroyed cities. That had become our routine. Food, water, cleaning, construction, survival. We went from house to house collecting garbage and teleported it outside the fortress. Anything edible that was close to spoiling was given to the dinosaurs. We were also dividing the fortress into 5 major sections. Classrooms, work areas, living quarters, training grounds, and spaces for activities that we hadn't even figured out yet. We took groups outside the fortress to search through the ruins for materials that could be reused. For a while, I thought things were finally becoming manageable. Then came the children. That was when everything became complicated. They hadn't simply arrived frightened. They had arrived broken, and some of them had learned to turn that brokenness into violence. Let's attack the boss of this damn fake fortress. Yeah. Let's attack Lurus. Let's go after the dinosaurs. Yeah. We could find a dinosaur park and make money. We'll become the most powerful people here. I heard them approaching. Children. Stop. They didn't. Go back to your quarters. One of them turned around. Move, you lazy old hag. You'll be dinosaur food. Another raised a weapon. Hit her. Keep going. We're almost there. Raise your weapons. I stared at them. Children, weapons in their hands. Words that didn't belong in their mouths. For a moment, I didn't see them. I saw the war. I saw everything that had happened before. Then they reached the ship. Get out of the ship, freaks. Chewie looked at them. What are you children doing here? We have weapons. And we're going to use them. Okay, they hesitated. We're serious. I know. I mean it. I'm waiting. Silence. Then an unarmed girl approached me with a disturbing smile. Miss. Bend down. I need to tell you something. I lowered myself. What's your name? She smiled. I'll be your worst nightmare. The knife appeared a second later. She stabbed me. Chewie and the others immediately rushed forward and restrained them. They fought like a gang. Not like children. And that frightened me more than the knife. The rescued people couldn't understand why their situation was different from what they had expected. Neither could my little brother. He had no idea who I was. He didn't remember me. He didn't remember the years we had shared. He didn't remember that I had practically raised him. To him, I was simply Lurus, the woman in charge of the fortress. And I had to live with this every single day. The people who had been rescued asked why we couldn't simply erase the memories of the children who had been exposed to violence. I explained the truth. We couldn't do it anymore, not without disrupting the cycle that had begun long ago and repeated itself year after year. We had already altered too much. And I wasn't willing to destroy any more memories. Not after seeing what that had done to my own family, so we needed another solution. We separated all the children. Even those who had no memories of what happened before. We took them to a shelter built inside a cave. There, we began training them. Not to become soldiers. To become children again. They learned that protecting their families was different from hurting people. That violence without purpose had consequences. That privileges could be taken away. Those without memories were paired together, allowing them to alternate and learn from each other's strengths. My little brother was among them. And that was the hardest part. I couldn't treat him differently. If I did, everyone would notice. If I protected him more than the others, the entire system would become meaningless. So I became stricter with him. Sometimes painfully strict. Not because I had forgotten who he was. Because I remembered exactly who he was. He simply didn't remember me. Outside the shelter, their parents were furious. They attacked us without warning. Free my children. They haven't done anything. Why are you taking away their freedom? She's a murderer. And now she's a kidnapper. Free them. I won't leave until you give me my child. Now, one woman screamed my name. Emilio. I want my boy. Another woman grabbed at the barrier. He's not like those other children. He's sweet. He's noble. I looked at her. Like those children? My voice became colder. Mom, you'd better be careful if you don't know what they went through. She lowered her head. I just want my boy. I didn't answer. I couldn't. Instead, I used their anger to expose the people responsible for what had happened. We made announcements in every fortress. The girls were protected. Except Glenda and Abigail. They were taken, and we moved from fortress to fortress. Everywhere, the same reaction. Parents screaming. Parents crying. Parents threatening us. By what right are you taking them away? This is worse than a government. I want my child back. If anything happens to them, we'll kill every one of you. No. No. I won't give him to you. You won't get away with this. This is an abuse of power. So I made another announcement. Announcement to the parents. I understand your anger, but we have to teach those who were harmed, and those in whom violence was deliberately planted, how to be children again. You may remember that we previously banned violence, weapons of war, religion, money, politics, ambition, the exploitation of natural resources, and animal hunting. Food is harvested. So must respect be harvested, so must peace. Violence cannot be solved with more violence. To ease your concerns, you will receive photographs and videos of your children every day. They will appear in the sky every morning, afternoon, and evening. Please pay attention. The people of you see here participated in the harm inflicted upon those children. To the parents who lost someone, and to those who are afraid of losing someone, please reconsider who the real enemy is, and reconsider where your violence is being directed. Thank you. Before I leave, I also want to announce that I will be leaving a suggestion box. Tell us what punishments you believe the responsible people deserve. Tell us what you want restored. Tell us why. Tell us how. You may also submit complaints about the guardian responsible for your fortress or about the construction of your homes. Millions of copies of the original houses have already been built. We are listening. That calmed them down. Not completely. But enough. The threats stopped. The rocks stopped flying. And for the first time, people began talking instead of attacking. The food shortage helped too. If they had been starving completely, the situation would have been much worse. This wasn't a normal society anymore. Nothing about it was normal. The third problem: Sarah left. She abandoned the people who wanted her executed. Q offered to take her family with him. That decision hurt more than I wanted to admit. I had started seeing Q as a father. He was wise. He supported me. He always seemed to know what to say when I didn't. And his family, I loved them. His wife was funny, brave, affectionate with everyone. His children were mischievous, but kind, empathetic, brave and surprisingly well-mannered. They decided to help with the children. They understood combat, they understood how to socialize. And they understood something many adults still didn't. How to protect someone without destroying them. Chewie and the others continued helping us. Being strict with my own brother was difficult, but I did it anyway. And once a week, I rewarded the children by allowing them to see their families. 2 weeks later, we removed the suggestion box. And that's when something unexpected happened. Everyone gathered. They had organized a meeting themselves. People, we're here today to decide what we actually want. Bring back money. And politics. What are we going to do with all that information about the politicians? Let them kill each other. I agree. Write it down. And if one survives, exile him. Someone interrupted. Don't you think we're falling into their tricks? What tricks? She's trying to do something nobody has ever been able to do. We came to the end of the world to accomplish exactly that. And then aliens show up with animal heads and muscular human bodies. That's true. Can we please go back to the petitions? We're not here to discuss the muscles of the extraterrestrials who invaded us. Eventually, they reached their conclusion. They wanted a game. Politicians, presidential officials, businessmen. Their families would be involved. The participants would fight for survival. The survivor would be exiled from every fortress. They also wanted the value of money restored. They wanted technology back, and then came the suggestion that surprised me most. They wanted Sarah forgiven. Because, according to them, she had only wanted to protect her mother from her violent father. I spent an entire week thinking about it with Crow and Q. I don't want to forgive her. They love her. So? She's known across several fortresses. I don't care. Crow stared at me. Then don't start imposing only what you want. I stayed silent. Listen to the people around you, Laraus. Consider the help they'll give you. If you don't, you risk a war. He paused. They could kill you. And he was right. Not because I was afraid of dying. I'd already seen too much death, but because if I turned every disagreement into a battle, everything we'd built would collapse. Q leaned forward. Just forgive her. I looked at him. Can we trust her? Yes. Then he added, but don't bring back money. Or alarms. And definitely not the internet. He shook his head. That thing was a lethal addiction to stupidity trapped inside a screen. I almost smiled. I see, I sighed. Fine, let's do it. We forgave Sarah. But we rejected the rest. Money would bring ambition with it. Technology could bring fame and power. We would allow teachers, but only for extraordinary, voluntary classes. Anyone with a genuine profession and real dedication could teach. We would also create entertainment, every month. Artists would form new teams and compete against one another. The winners would receive the privilege of visiting another fortress, seeing what existed beyond their own walls and meeting people from another part of the world. And as for the punishment, we wouldn't actually kill the losers. We would tell everyone that we would. It was a lie. Every house would receive a screen. You alone could control and manipulate the system. Whatever happened would be broadcast from a perspective no one could predict. There were still complaints. Politicians, religious groups, other people demanding their old world back. I'd deal with that later. First came the games of death, video for the parents, training for proper civil behavior. The camera turned on. I stood between two boys. Separate, they stopped fighting. Why were you fighting? Emilio pointed at Raul. That idiot was talking about my sister Sandra and said she had nice. I immediately cut him off. She's 8 years old. Raul looked away. The guy who trained us on the ship said men were supposed to talk like that. I looked at him. Then you need to learn something. Some men hit people. Some touch people without permission. Some learn to hide what they really are. That man belonged to that last group. Raul frowned. What's wrong with that? Emilio answered before I could. They're bad men. They kill people. They abuse people. Raul looked at him. And what do you know, fag? Silence. I stared at him. Something inside me tightened. I'd heard that kind of language before. I'd seen what happened when people decided another human being was beneath them. I'd seen where that road ended. So I changed my tone. Okay, you want me to speak to you like that? Fine. Lesson 1. You want respect? Work for it. I slapped him. He laughed. His eyes hardened. His fist came straight into my stomach. He laughed at my slap. You hit like a damn girl. For a second, I didn't move. I measured my strength. Then I knocked him to the ground. I kicked him, again, and again. Not because I wanted to hurt him. Because I needed him to understand what his own behavior could become. He began begging me to stop. I waited for that familiar reaction, the one I'd seen in people whose bodies remembered violence even when their minds refused to. I stopped. Remember this feeling whenever you disrespect someone? He couldn't answer. I looked down at him. Answer me, what's my name? Sergeant. My name isn't Sergeant. Larius. Don't apologize for not knowing my name. Remember what you called me after you hit me? Do you remember? He nodded. Yes. What did you call me? He hesitated. Pewter. I can't hear you. Pewter. Still can't hear you. Pewter. The cave went silent. I stared at him. Now tell me my name. Larius. And why are you apologizing? He swallowed. For calling you that. I nodded. Good. Then I turned toward the others. Crow will take care of you. Emilio looked at Raul. I gave him a look. He understood. Help him. They walked away. I faced the camera. For a moment, I didn't know what to say. Then I smiled, not because I was happy, because sometimes you have to keep standing even when everything inside you wants to collapse. Children, listen carefully. Let this be an example of what happens when respect disappears. If you want respect, you have to work on your attitude. Everyone suffers at some point in their lives. And believe me, it's heartbreaking that some of you had to experience things like this so early in your lives, but the strongest people, the most extraordinary, the most chingones, are the ones noble enough to keep the right people in their lives. The recording ended. The cameras switched off. And the moment they did, I couldn't keep pretending. It was hard. Too hard. Those little criminals had spent their worst days on that ship surrounded by drugs, violence and people who taught them that cruelty was normal. Some of them couldn't even move properly anymore. Some begged for things they couldn't explain. Some refused to remember. And every time I saw them break down, my mind broke with them. So I hugged them. We all did. We talked to them. We taught them other things. Small things, safe things, how to make milk, how to make cheese, how to make sweets. Things that didn't require a weapon. Things that didn't require killing. Things that made them look at each other and realize they were still capable of creating something. After the hardest training sessions, those simple moments made some of them sigh. Others cried, and sometimes I did too, because beneath all the rules, all the fortresses, all the collars and all the games, I wasn't trying to build an army. I was trying to make sure my little brother, and every other child trapped in this nightmare, would never become what the world had made us. And maybe that was the hardest battle of all. Part 6. The Great Game has begun. Phase 1. Fragments of memories. Only a month and a half had passed, yet it felt as though we had lived several different lives. The children had changed. Not completely. Not yet, but enough. We had learned that taking away violence was not as simple as taking away weapons. Some of them had been taught to hurt before they were old enough to understand what hurting someone meant. So we separated them from their families. We trained them. We watched them. And, most importantly, we gave them time. Meanwhile, their parents waited. Some complained. Some threatened us. Others simply waited for their children to come home. Sandra was one of them. She sat beside her mother, trying to keep her calm. "Mum, calm down. Emilio is going to be fine. You need to eat. And stop throwing things at that girl. Just try to keep things orderly." Dan aside. "You'd be better off keeping quiet and finding something else to do. There's nothing to do here except eat, listen to people complain about pain, and sleep." Hawk looked at both of them. "Come on, girls. Emilio will be back with us in 2 days. We see him every day, and luckily, he didn't go through what the others did. But from what I've seen morning, noon, and night, he's a strong, brave boy." He looked at Sandra. "My love, we have to stay strong and united, like we always say. And you need to stop being so aggressive, or they'll send you to join Emilio." He laughed. Sandra glared at him. Very funny. Meanwhile, Emilio was still training. He was exhausted. His partner was exhausted too. But something had changed between them. They no longer insulted each other. They were beginning to understand one another. Emilio approached me. "Mom, I'm tired. Can I rest for a moment?" My partner is tired too. He isn't insulting me anymore, but he's too shy to ask you himself, so he told me to ask for him. I looked at both of them. "Fine. You can rest. And thank you for telling me about your partner's condition." Emilio hesitated. "Can I tell you something? I'm supervising right now. You can rest over there, soldier." "All right." He walked away, then stopped. "I just wanted to tell you that I dream about you." I turned toward him. "What?" He smiled nervously. "I don't know why. And I feel sad when I see that sad look in your eyes." I didn't answer. "Do you have a family?" For a moment, I couldn't speak, my throat tightened. "Yes." I looked away. "I miss them very much." I forced myself to straighten my posture. "Focus on your training with your partner. Break's over. Go back to running." I pointed toward his partner. "And if he refuses, bring him to me." "Yes, Mom." He ran back. Then I heard him shout, "We're going to do this right, Mom. So you can go back to your family and smile again." I froze. A tear escaped my eye. Just one. I wiped it away immediately. I couldn't let them see. I was their trainer. Not their sister. Not their daughter. Not their friend. Their trainer, and I hated what I had to become to protect them. But I knew why I was doing it. My brother was one of them, even if he didn't remember me. Especially because he didn't remember me. The children gradually improved. They learned that violence was not a game. It was something you used only when there was no other way to protect someone. During their breaks, they began playing again. Real games, not battles. They shared food. They joked, they helped each other. And when the time finally came, we returned them to their families. Each child received something else, a surviving animal. Their responsibility was simple. Love it, feed it, protect it, care for it. For the first time, they had something innocent to protect. Phase 2, the announcement 5.5 weeks. That was all it took. Every child was back with their family. The reunions were different everywhere. Some parents cried. Some laughed. Some couldn't stop touching their children, as if making sure they were really there. "My dear son. You're finally safe. That crazy old woman didn't hurt you, did she?" "No, Mum. I'm fine." Another family embraced their son. "Son. I missed you." "Me too. Come on. Let's go home." Then came Emilio. His mother grabbed him. "Emilio, my handsome carrot. How did it go?" Emilio covered his face. "It went well. And please stop calling me handsome carrot. It's embarrassing, Mum." She laughed. "Oh, look at you. You're growing up." "Exactly." He stood proudly. "Soon I'll be a man of honor." I watched from a distance. He didn't know me. He didn't know that I was the person he had dreamed about. He didn't know that the woman he had been calling Mom was his sister. And I couldn't tell him. Not yet. I traveled from stronghold to stronghold. Then I made the announcement. "I want to begin by thanking everyone who used the suggestion box. I've reviewed your requests carefully, and now I will tell you what will be permitted, what will be denied, and how we will address the problems you've raised. First, Sarah from Stronghold 9 will be forgiven. Second, the game you requested will take place. Those responsible for the deaths of children aboard those ships, and those who robbed the survivors of their childhoods, will participate. The game will take place inside the 10th stronghold. Their relatives will be allowed to witness what happens. Third, I will not restore money, political power, or organized religion, nor will I return the old technological system that helped concentrate power in the hands of a few. You asked for these things back. I will instead give you a chance to explain why. Once every year, there will be a public panel where you may argue your case. Finally, there will be new programs. If you had a profession you genuinely loved, tell your designated guardian. She will explain how you can continue practicing it. Those involved in entertainment will also have their own competition. Teams will be formed, and the winners will receive the privilege of traveling beyond their stronghold and discovering what exists outside. Everything has a purpose. Follow the rules. Respect your guardians. Thank you. The reactions came immediately. Did you hear? They're actually going to hold games. And we're not going to be drowning in debt anymore. Oh my God. They actually listened to us. What is society becoming? Another person whispered, I hope these little games don't become a habit. Phase 3, the lesson of the killing game. Q was losing his mind. Lurius, what exactly do you want me to build? I stared at him. First, relax. How am I supposed to relax? You asked for a game. A controlled game. An infinite maze? Maybe. We can only build half of one. A giant forest? Possible. Deadly weather zones? Possible. A red sky? Q paused. ... That I can do. I smiled. Then make it feel like they're walking through the consequences of everything they've done. Q stared at me. You want symbolism? Exactly. And the infinite maze? Can we make it? He stared at me. Of course not, Lurius. I'd have to keep building it forever, erasing myself from existence in the process. He threw his arms into the air. Is that what you want, Lurius? Is that what you want? I sighed. No. Good. Build as much as you can. Now we're talking. We settled on a massive maze surrounded by forest. Red skies, heavy rain. Hiding places, climbing sections, dead ends. Paths that appeared safe but weren't. The rain would look like blood against the red sky. At least, that was what I wanted them to imagine. The weapons would be fake. The helmets would be invisible. Nobody would actually die. If someone was killed, they would be teleported away unconscious, experiencing pain and hallucinations created by the system. The audience, however, wouldn't know that. They would see everything. Every memory, every betrayal, every child, every victim. That was when I realized something. My family would see those memories too. And if my brother's memories appeared, they would know. They would attack Sandra. They would realize who I was. I couldn't allow that, so I made another decision. My family would be moved to my stronghold. Q's wife and Hawkface's daughter helped retrieve them. They were sedated and brought in without being told why. While that happened, Chewie and I went after Marcus, his superiors, and the people above them. The players. I dressed formally. A strange choice for a battlefield. But this wasn't supposed to look like a battlefield. It was supposed to look like a judgment. I stood before one of Q's transmission devices. My hands were trembling. My voice wasn't. Good afternoon. I looked directly toward the cameras. I'll begin by announcing who was selected and why. Marcus Peralta de la Cruz, recruiter of children and adolescents. Lilith Lopez Garcia, company deputy director. Jorge Peralta Lopez, Lilith's son and company ally. Don Marcus Peralta Lopez, company leader. Laura Maria de la Gran Trinidad, supervisor of recruiters and regional deputy. Fabio Gonzalez Elvira, military war trainer. Along with recruiters and regional executives, Jorge Luis Gonzalez de la Paz. Fernando Perez Rodriguez, Luisa Hernandez Gonzalez. Ricardo Jimenez de la Vega. Diana Bravo Lesvoa. And several regional executives, Maria Gutierrez Atencio. Petra Andrade Martinez. J.V. Socorrolubo. Marcos Inez Odanita. Isabella Montero Vargas. I took a breath. You will have one objective. Survive and find the exit. I paused. There will be only one winner. Marcus looked at me. Lilith looked around. Laura remained expressionless. When I say go, you run. You may take whatever weapons you find. And remember. I smiled faintly. This is the game you asked for. Ready? Silence. Go. They scattered. Lilith ran with her son. Don Marcus followed them. Marcus went with Laura. Others disappeared between the trees. Some climbed, some hid, Some immediately began forming alliances. I watched from the control room. For the first time, I wondered whether I had gone too far. Then the game began. Hours passed. Eventually, Jorge Luis González de la Paz, Fernando Perez Rodriguez, Luisa Hernandez González, Ricardo Jiménez de la Vega, and Diana Bravo Lisboa continued together. They found weapons. Pistols, knives, old swords. They kept walking through the night. At dawn, they heard something behind a bush. They removed their shoes. Slowly, quietly. They approached. Then, bang. 5 shots. Nothing, no response. They ran, then they saw Marcus and Laura. A projectile flew toward them. They escaped, but behind the bush. Lilith was holding her son. Jorge, he was bleeding. He was the first to reveal his memories. The audience saw everything. His childhood, his mother. His father abusing her, his mother escaping with him. Their years living on the streets. Then Don Marcus appeared. Food, clothes, shelter, protection, and eventually, separation. Jorge was handed over to Luisa. The beatings began. The threats, the manipulation, the recruitment, the war, the drugs, the betrayal, his mother searching for him, Marcus finding him again, the reunions, the alliances, and finally, his mother crying, begging him to forgive her. Then Don Marcus and Marcus taking her away. The audience watched Jorge's entire life in minutes. And suddenly, the game stopped looking like a game. QE had been camouflaged among the trees. His reptilian abilities made him nearly impossible to detect. He contacted Chewie. Get me to the control room. A second later, he disappeared. We secured Jorge. The collar system was activated. But the weapons had never been real. They only simulated the sensation of being wounded. The players believed they were dying. The audience believed that they were watching death. That was the deception. Then they found Luisa. Lilith saw her. She attacked. This wasn't part of the plan. Luisa fell. Her memories appeared. Children, abuse, drugs, trafficking, weapons. The faces of people she had sold. The audience saw it all. Then Don Marcus, and Laura raised their weapons. The gunfire began. One after another, they fell. But then something happened that I had been afraid of. Marcus was hit 3 times. Lilith screamed. Don Marcus saw his son fall. And he collapsed. Lilith followed. 4 remained. Then they began shooting at one another. One fell, another, and another, until only Laura remained. She disappeared into the forest. For more than 4 hours, she hid. Then she encountered Fabio. He was above the trees. He heard crying. He fired blindly. Laura reacted instantly. Her shot was precise. Fabio fell. The memories appeared. A family, children, a wife, a hidden life, and behind it all, trafficking, abuse, violence. The truth was finally visible. Laura reached the exit. She had won. I activated the speakers. Laura Maria de la Gran Trinidad. She looked around. Follow my voice. She kept walking. Follow my voice. Another step. Follow my voice. She reached me. 5 hours had passed. She suddenly attacked. I caught her arm. She screamed. I twisted it hard enough to break her wrist. She collapsed, and then I looked directly toward the cameras. Now you deserve to know the truth. The truth. This was the game you requested. First, you will hear from the families of those who participated. And then, we have a surprise. The screens changed. Ladies and gentlemen. I smiled without humor. The families. One by one, they appeared. Including Abigail's family. Then I asked 3 questions. Question 1. Did you know what your family member actually did? Most answered. No. Then Abigail spoke. Number. She stared at me. But you're a hypocrite. You protected your sister. She deserved to be here too. You only protect your own people. I ignored her. Question 2. 1 word. What did you feel watching your family member die? The answers came. Relief. Anger. Sadness. Rage. Helplessness. Then came the 3rd question. Would you trade places with them? Everyone answered. Number. Then Abigail looked at me. And you? She paused. If your sister had been there and died, would you have traded places with her? I looked directly at the cameras. Yes. Silence. Because my sister never put her hands on a child. I took a breath. She never betrayed her people. Marcus recruited me. He threatened to send my sister to prison. He threatened to leave us on the streets. And I survived because I found people who were willing to help me. My voice hardened. Your father helped create the system that destroyed these children. I looked at Abigail. And you paid the consequences for his actions. Then I turned toward the cameras. So number. I didn't come here to watch monsters die. I came here to show everyone what happens when people become monsters. I paused. But they're still alive. The audience went silent. The weapons were fake. The injuries were simulated. The collars only created unconsciousness and controlled hallucinations. Every memory you saw was real. Every betrayal was real. Every child was real. I looked toward Quizá. He appeared. Take them away. The prisoners were transported to a controlled rehabilitation facility. They would not be executed. They would not be allowed to hurt anyone. They would perform social work under constant supervision. And, for the people watching, there was one final warning. They will live. They will serve. And they will remember. Laura was released from the restraints. She looked at me. I'm sorry. I said nothing. The transmission ended. Glenda was returned to Cross Stronghold. Abigail was returned to her assigned stronghold. And the 10th stronghold went silent. For several seconds. Then the reactions began. That girl is seriously disturbed. But what about the people who asked for the game? Someone raised their hand. I was one of them. Another person stared at them. Then you can't judge her. A pause. You're probably even more disturbed than she is, and somewhere inside the stronghold. I stood alone, because the game had ended. But the real problem hadn't. My brother had watched the memories. And sooner or later, he was going to ask me who I was. Part 7, The Farewell, Phase 1, Fragments of Memory. Sandra. Mum, calm down. Emilio is going to be fine. You need to eat and stop throwing things at that girl. Just try to keep things orderly. Dana, you'd be better off keeping quiet and finding something else to do. I don't know. There's nothing to do here except eat, listen to people complain about the pain, and sleep. Okay, come on, girls. Emilio will be back with us in 2 days. We've seen him, and luckily, he didn't go through what the others did. But from what I've seen every morning, afternoon, and night, he's a strong, brave boy. My love, we have to stay strong and united, just like we always say. And you need to stop being so aggressive, or they'll send you to join Emilio. He laughs teasingly at Sandra. Emilio, Mom, I'm tired. Can I rest for a moment? My partner is tired too. He doesn't insult me anymore, but he's too shy to ask you himself, so he told me to ask for him. Laura, who's fine. You can rest. Thank you for following orders and reporting your partner's situation to me. Emilio. Mom, can I tell you something? Laura, I'm sorry, but I'm supervising right now. You can rest over there, soldier. Emilio, all right. I just wanted to tell you that I dream about you. And I feel sad whenever I see that sad look in your eyes. Do you have a family? Laura feels a lump in her throat. Laura, yes. I miss them very much. Now focus on your training with your partner. Break's over. Go back to running, and if he refuses, bring him to me. Go. Emilio obediently returns to his partner. Emilio, we're going to do this right, Mom. So you can go back to your family and smile again. A tear of pride slips down Laura's face. Even though she remained in her role as their trainer, she hated having to be so strict with them. But she knew it was for a greater purpose. The children gradually improved. They learned to use violence only as a means of protection. During their breaks, they began playing genuinely again. We gave them food, joked with them, and taught them how to share. Eventually, we returned them to their families. And we gave each child a pet, one of the animals that had survived. They would have to love it, care for it, protect it, and feed it. It was another lesson in responsibility. Phase 2, the announcement. Now all the children were back with their families. It had taken only 5.5 weeks. The reunions. My dear boy. You're finally safe. That crazy old woman didn't hurt you, did she? No, Mum. I'm fine. Son. I missed you so much. Come on. Let's go home. Emilio, my handsome little carrot. How did it go? It went well. And stop calling me handsome carrot. It's so embarrassing, Mum. Oh, look at you. You're growing up. Exactly. Soon I'll be a man of honor. I traveled from stronghold to stronghold, announcing what would and would not be allowed. I will begin by thanking everyone who used the suggestion box. I will now explain what I will permit, what I will deny, and the solutions we will implement for the problems you have raised. First, I will grant forgiveness to Sarah of Stronghold 9. Second, we will hold a game involving those responsible for the deaths of the children aboard those ships, and those who survived but had their childhoods stolen from them. The game will take place inside a 10th stronghold. The relatives of those responsible will witness the consequences of what their family members have done. Third, I will deny the restoration of money, technology, politics, and religion. There is a simple reason for this. They are weapons I will not place back into your hands so that you can continue destroying yourselves. The only solution I will offer is an annual panel in which you must explain why you want religion and politics returned. Finally, there will be program sections, including the panel. If there was a profession you once loved, tell your designated female supervisor, and she will explain how you can participate. For those who worked in entertainment, we also have a contest planned. Teams will be formed, and at the end of the year, the winners will be announced. Their reward will be a trip beyond the fortress, where they will discover what exists outside our walls. Remember that all of this serves a purpose. Follow the rules and respect your designated female supervisors. Thank you for your attention. Did you hear? They're going to hold games. And we won't be poor people drowning in debt anymore. Yes, you heard that right. Oh my God. I can't believe she actually listened to us. Oh my God. What is society coming to? I just hope this little games thing doesn't become a habit. It gives me the creeps. Phase 3, the lesson of the killing game. Q was already stressed about how to organize the game. I tried to help him. Q-uk, Laraus. What exactly do you want for this little game? An infinite maze? We can only build half of that. Do you want, I don't know, a gigantic forest? Deadly weather zones? What? What do you want, Laraus? First, relax. We're not going to get anywhere with that attitude. What about a sweltering climate bathed in red? Q. Okay. That I can actually do. Laraus. And an infinite maze is possible too. Q. Of course it isn't, Laraus. I'd have to keep building it forever and erase my own life in the process. Is that what you want, Laraus? Is that what you want, Larauso? Never mind. I'm sorry. Just build as much as you can. Whatever you're able to make. Q. Okay. We finally settled on a maze filled with hiding places and climbing sections. A forest stood at its center beneath the red sky, while rain fell from above. To the participants, it would look like blood. Blood from everything they had spilled. There would be no obvious pattern to the maze. No clear route to escape. Survival itself would become part of the game. The players would wear invisible helmets and collars. The weapons would appear capable of killing them, but in reality, they could not cause physical harm. If someone was killed, the spectators would see their memories, and that was when I remembered something. My family's memories would eventually be revealed. Sandra would be targeted. So I came up with a solution. I would move my family into my fortress. Q's wife and the daughter of Kara Duhalkin helped me. They went searching for my family, put them to sleep, and brought them back without asking questions. Meanwhile, Chewie and I went after Marcus, his superiors, and the people above them. When we arrived, I dressed formally for the announcement. I was nervous, but I remained firm. I stood in front of one of Q's devices. Good afternoon. I will begin by announcing who was selected and why. Marcus Peralta de la Cruz, recruiter of children and adolescents. Lilith Lopez Garcia, deputy manager of a company. Jorge Peralta Lopez, Lilith's son and Don Marcus's ally. Don Marcus Peralta Lopez, Marcus's father and head of the company. Laura Maria de la Gran Trinidad, supervisor of recruiters and deputy manager. Fabio Gonzalez Elvira, military war trainer, recruiters from different countries working for the same company. Jorge Luis Gonzalez de la Paz, Fernando Perez Rodriguez, Luisa Hernandez Gonzalez, Ricardo Jimenez de la Vega, and Diana Bravo Lisboa, deputy managers from different countries within the same company. Maria Gutierrez Atencio, Petra Andrade Martinez, J.V. Socorrolubo, Marcos Inez Urdaneta, and Isabella Montero Vargas. All of you have been given the opportunity to hide and find a way out. But there will only be one winner. When I say go, you will run. You will have the opportunity to pick up weapons. Your objective is simple, survive and win. Ready? They scattered. Lilith ran with her son. Don Marcus followed them. Marcus went with Laura Maria. Others climbed trees while the rest dispersed throughout the maze. After watching them for a while, I withdrew to a control cabin. That was where we would teleport anyone who is eliminated. As night fell, several groups formed alliances. It wasn't until midnight that Jorge Luis González de la Paz, Fernando Perez Rodriguez, Luisa Hernandez González, Ricardo Jiménez de la Vega, and Diana Bravo Lisboa decided to keep moving. Along the way, they found weapons, pistols, knives, and ancient swords. They stayed awake through the night. At dawn, they heard something moving behind a bush. They removed their shoes and approached carefully. Without thinking, they fired 5 shots from different directions. Nothing, no response. They ran. Only moments later, they saw Marcus and Laura Maria. A bomb was thrown at them. But they were already far away. Behind the bush was Lilith. She was desperately pressing her hands against her son's bleeding body. He was the first to have his memories revealed. The images showed him as a child with his mother. His father used to beat her. Eventually, she escaped with her son, wandering with nowhere to go. They lived on the streets until Don Marcus found them. He offered them shelter, food, and clothing. His mother eventually became involved with Don Marcus. Days became weeks. Eventually, she was separated from her son. Marcus was taken away and placed under the control of Luisa Hernandez González, who beat him and threatened him. Everything had supposedly been done to protect him. But in the end, he betrayed them. He went to the other side. His mother searched for him 5 times. Eventually, Marcus persuaded him to return. One day, his mother found him again. They reunited and remained in contact, protecting one another. Marcus, his father, and Lilith eventually reached an agreement with him. They became double allies. Throughout the memories, his mother could be heard crying and begging him for forgiveness. Then Don Marcus and Marcus forced her to run with them. The memories continued. Chewie was camouflaged nearby. His ability to blend in was one of his strengths as a lizard. He contacted me. I had him teleported to the control cabin. When he arrived, he hid again. We restrained him and put the collars back on him. Within 5 hours, the sensation of death would wear off. The weapons weren't real. They were illusions. The collars delivered electric shocks that left the participants unconscious and filled their minds with the sensation of dying. Eventually, they encountered the group responsible for Jorge Peralta Lopez's death. The moment Lilith saw Luisa, she attacked her. She beat her until she stopped moving. We hadn't planned for an actual death. But in the end, it was ruled a natural death caused by the injuries. Then her memories appeared. She had abused children. She beat them. She hid drugs inside their bodies and trafficked them, selling them to countless criminals. The images were disturbing. Even I hadn't expected to see some of them. Don Marcus, and Laura Maria picked up their weapons. They aimed at the others. Kill. Their memories appeared. They showed children being trained until adolescence. Some were sent to war. Others were enslaved. The climbers eventually found a path toward the screams and gunshots. They had weapons. They attacked. Lilith shot one of them, sending him crashing to the ground. Then Marcus was shot 3 times. That was what I had feared. It happened to my family too. When Don Marcus saw his son fall, he collapsed beside him. Lilith followed. 4 armed participants remained. They couldn't see Laura. She had hidden. The remaining fighters shot at one another until they fell. Before they could hit the ground, a trampoline appeared beneath them. The spectators couldn't see it because the screens were flooded with memories of child abuse, family betrayals, and human trafficking. Eventually, only Laura remained. She hid for more than 4 hours. She was alone with Fabio, who was still hiding above the trees. He heard someone crying. He fired blindly. Laura responded with astonishing accuracy. Fabio fell. His memories appeared. They were horrifying. He was a rapist and a trafficker. He had a wife, children, and he had harmed them too. When we teleported him away, we did what we had once done to others like him. We made him believe he would be castrated, that his hands would be amputated, that he would be left unable to see. Then we forced him to walk while carrying a garbage cart for the baby dinosaurs. And finally, Laura reached the end. She had won. Only one thing remained. The announcement. Laura Maria de la Gran Trinidad. You are the winner. Follow my voice. Follow my voice. Follow my voice. When she reached me, 5 hours had already passed. Her memories were still being transmitted. She tried to attack me, crying. I twisted her arm and broke her wrist. She screamed in pain, and that was when I revealed the truth. This was the game you asked for. First, we will have an interview with the families of everyone involved. And then, we have a surprise. Ladies and gentlemen, the family of Abigail, daughter of military trainer Fabio, along with the families of all the deputy managers. The families of the others who had died were brought in as well. But they were placed on a different set. Laura Maria sat restrained in a chair. I had 3 questions for each family. Question 1. Did you know what your family member's job was and what role they played? Question 2. In one word, how did you feel when you saw your family member die? Question 3. Would you have changed places with them? Question 1. Everyone answered politely. Number, Abigail, however, had something to say. No. But you hypocritically protected your sister, didn't you? She deserved to be here too. You only care about your own people. I ignored her. I felt sorry for her. Question 2. The answers came one after another. Relief. Anger. Sadness. Rage. Helplessness. Question 3. They all answered at once. Number. Then Abigail looked directly at me. And you? If your sister had been there and died, would you have changed places with her? I looked toward the viewers. Larius. Of course I would. I paused. Because unlike these people, she never laid a hand on a child. She was never capable of betraying her own people. And neither did I. Marcus recruited me. He threatened to send my sister to prison and leave us homeless. I found people surviving as if we were prisoners ourselves. My sister never harmed a human being. Your father did, Abigail. He created all of this. And you ended up paying the price for him by trading yourself for your mother's misery. I looked directly into the camera. I didn't come here to stand around and watch people die without consequences for the terrible things they did. I came here to tell you that they will remain alive inside an eternal torture. They will lose their minds. They will be forced into social services, the same services everyone else contributes to. So when you see them, remember that you could end up there too if you ever do something monstrous. They are there to serve. They cannot hurt anyone. They cannot scream. They cannot run. And that's why we covered them in colorful suits that the children can recognize. I turned toward Q. Q, send them in. The truth was finally revealed. The weapons had never been real. They were designed to knock the participants unconscious for hours. The visions were illusions. The spectators had been deceived. Technology itself had become part of the deception. We had used the very thing humanity once worshipped to make them believe the game was real. I untied Laura. She apologized to me. I ignored her. The transmission ended. Glenda was released and sent to Cross Stronghold. Abigail was returned to the stronghold where she had been staying. The spectators began talking among themselves. That girl is seriously disturbed. And what about the people who asked for the game? I was one of the many people who asked for exactly that. Oh, mother. Then you can't judge her when you're even more disturbed than she is. The day of the great real killing game, Teresa took control of the broadcast. Dear viewers, at Larius's request, I will be the one presenting today's event and enforcing the rules on your behalf. Although this game will also include a series of interviews with the fascinating participants. First, let's welcome Natasha Teresa. So, Natasha, did you like your outfit? Natasha. Hello, old woman Teresa. Yes. It was a great choice. These black leggings and this black shirt that says kill me if you can. Teresa, I see. Do you have anything you'd like to say to your viewers? Natasha. When I win, my daughters and I will bring back the old ways. Money. The church. And most importantly, politics. I will become their governor. But only if I win, obviously. Teresa. Ah. What an awful person. Now introduce your suicide squad. The others enter. Teresa. Come on, boys and girls. This is Gabriel, a former training partner. Raul, my late husband's old friend. And Mariella, a friend of mine. Tell us, guys. Why did you agree to participate? Gabriel. I would do anything for Natasha. Raul. I would do it for Emilio and his daughters. They've already lost their father. Losing their mother too would be unforgivable. Mariella. I don't want to live anymore. My entire family is dead. Teresa. All right. You can sit over there. And on the other side, we have Larius. Hello. Teresa, tell me, old friend. How do you feel wearing that fantastic outfit? Larius. Well, I made them wear black. But I suppose everyone hates me, so here I am. Dressed in white. Teresa. I see. And how do you feel after learning about your brother's death? Larius. I haven't been able to sleep. I've spent all this time crying. I don't know if I'll ever recover from it. All I know is that I'm going to kill her for taking my little brother. Teresa. OF. Wise words, my friend. Now let's bring out the family. De la Cruz, the family enters. Hello. Willarus's family in the late Emilio's family. Natasha. You will pay for what you did. Love, stop. You know what she did. Teresa. Excuse me, Mom. Give us some context, Larus. Teresa. Number. Teresa, sorry, sister-in-law, but why are you ordering me not to ask her? I think our viewers deserve to know. Larus. Because I want to tell them myself. I held up a piece of paper. See this? And these last few lines? Exactly. It's from Emilio. He asked me to kill her. This woman poisoned my brother for years and killed him. Natasha. You can't make accusations without proof. Larus. Once again, let me remind you, there are no prisons here. There is only eternal torture. Or the torture of redemption. Teresa. Ladies, the battle royale begins over there. But first, let me explain the conditions of the game and the weapons that are allowed. If you don't mind, ladies, take your positions. Ready? Ready. Teresa held up the collars. You see these famous bracelets and collars? They used to function as emotional reaction stimulants. Hidden inside the same metal was a system that absorbed the physical damage associated with killing and dying. The bracelets, meanwhile, were cameras that allowed Chewie to teleport whoever was killed. Yes. Killed. But today I've brought some experts with me. Come on in. Yes, it is an honor to be here with two excellent, Teresa. Shut up, David. You're only here as a test dummy. She turned toward the audience. Anyway, as I was saying, this man and his team modified the helmets. These are the old ones. And these are the ones they will be using today. There is no possibility of confusing them. No chance whatsoever. The weapons were brought forward, Teresa. Now, everyone at home will see what David sees from his perspective, the side cameras, and a full body camera. They're all connected. You can even see the button here, just like a pair of Bluetooth headphones. She picked up a knife. Here's a knife. It looks sharp, doesn't it? She pressed it against her finger. But look. Nothing. Not even a drop of blood. She placed it against David's neck. Close your eyes, sweetheart. 1, 2, 3. Blood appeared to run down his neck. Teresa. See that? Now don't take your eyes off your screens. She disconnected the cameras. The blood vanished. And there was Chewie, teleporting David's body away. Teresa, now let's take a look at the weapons they'll actually be using. These aren't ordinary weapons. They have history. Each one was selected for a reason. Natasha chose wooden crossbows from Glenda's stronghold, along with other wooden weapons and bombs. Larus, meanwhile, chose weapons whose history she knows, who created them, how they were made, what they were designed for, and how they evolved. They'll be distributed throughout the darkest corners of the maze. And remember, this maze can be manipulated from my control panel. We placed the collars on everyone. Then we gave them the new helmets. They were painted fluorescent colors. My team wore pink. Natasha's team wore green. Teresa. Positions. When you hear the bell, run. My parents were already elderly. So we requested an extra member for our team. Sandra's husband would help support my mother while Sandra and I helped my father. But on the way, an argument broke out. My other sister turned against me. She struck me. I couldn't strike her back. My mother spoke. Girls. We're going to die. No. I've already explained that you won't. Listen to me. My bones are getting weaker. And we already had a heart attack, remember? Are you really going to throw that in our faces now, Mum? I'm not throwing anything in your face. I'm telling you that I won't survive many more attacks. Okay, Mum. I need to talk to Larus. But when she said talk, she meant slapping me repeatedly and screaming at me. Why aren't you doing anything? Get them out of your problem. Come on, Sandra. It's just my problem. Yes. Who refused to let them get married? Who let her little brother leave? Tell me. Who? And who put the idea into his head in the first place? I got married in secret, and he knew about it. It wasn't just because of something I said. He was old enough to make his own decisions, for God's sake. And you never listened. They won't die. And if they do, I will do whatever you ask. Anything? Anything. Then I want you to leave my life. I want your shelter. I want the place you stole from me. Fine, it sounds terrible. I know what you're expecting to happen. And what you expect. is going to happen. Only much worse. Teresa and David is back with us. Tell me, do you feel different? David. No. But I saw my entire life flash before my eyes. Teresa. We know, David. Now everyone knows that you married me and cheated on me with the neighbor across the street. David. No. But why would I only see myself bleeding? Teresa. Well, the helmets were also designed to transmit images from your memories, sweetheart. You can leave now. I have a long way to go. She turned toward the cameras. And viewers, don't pay attention to those children screaming, laughing, and playing in the background. They're Sandra's and Natasha's children. And don't worry about this beautiful sleeping baby either. Everything is fine. Back to our competitors. On one side, Natasha was desperately searching for her weapons. Unfortunately for her, she was in the section where Laura's weapons were supposed to be. They had already crossed 3 rows of iron barriers. The first required them to climb and walk along the edge. Ricardo nearly fell. The second required them to find the connecting path to the next row. The game was called, The Exit is in the Frozen Water. And they absolutely did not want to go there. Because with this new update to the game, there was a giant crocodile they could climb, run, hide. But it wouldn't be easy. Teresa. Let's see what they did. Oh. I can't believe it. They're crawling underneath the crocodile. Wow. It worked. That was unexpected. Who would have thought another one would come out of the water? Oh no. It took the one who didn't want to live anymore. Natasha is losing her mind. Look at them. They're going around in circles. She turned toward another screen. Now let's go to Laura and her family. But I should warn you. I'm going to have to manipulate their paths. Laura is very good at memorizing the maze. And she helped build this insane iron labyrinth. So, I'll move this here. Show this section. Lower this. Okay. Let's see where I sent them. Screams and panic. Oh. Oops. What we saw at the end of the previous games. We're seeing it again. Wow. That blood rain looks incredibly realistic. And terrifying. They can't even stand without falling. Wait. What's happening? Why are Laura and Sandra fighting? Well, what you didn't know is that I put microphones inside their collars. Laura didn't want me to. So if she finds out, she's going to kill me. But listen to why they're fighting. Sandra. You're a fucking piece of shit. I never wanted you. I never wanted any of this. Laura. Get off me. Sandra. No. I'm ending this. Then I'm going to see my children. Teresa. She shouldn't have done that. Laura just headbutted Sandra. She's unconscious. Laura. Dad. Mum. You two follow me. Grawl. I'll go ahead, but I'll come back for you. Teresa. That's my girl. And look at those arms. She really knows how to grab her sister by the hair. Hours later, I finally reached a safe area. Sandra's husband was surprisingly helpful, taking care of his wife while I dragged my parents behind me. What we're seeing here, these are some truly incredible images. Laura. We're almost there. Sandra's husband, this isn't a good idea. We should retreat. She's not okay. You know she started drinking again. And she buried her brother just a few days ago. Laura. We can't just leave now. Take off your shirt and put it on the ground. Sandra's husband, weren't you a lesbian? Laura. Yes, idiot. I'm using the shirt to drag my parents to a hiding place nearby. Sandra's husband. Oh. I only asked because I didn't remember. Laura. Well, now you know. Also take Sandra's shoelaces. Her shoes too. Tie her hands and feet. Then drag her. Teresa. OMG. Laura just took off her shirt too. And put it on the ground. Wow. I didn't even know this trick existed. Her grandmother must have taught her 1,000 ways to use shoelaces. Look at this. She tied her shirt to her parents' shirts and secured everything with the shoelaces from their favorite shoes. She told them to lie down. And now these two are asleep while she drags them. I can't believe this. Laura. Here. This is the hiding place. Sandra's husband, but isn't it obvious they're here? Laura. Not once Teresa moves the maze. Besides, this has a mechanism that only I can open. Teresa. Well. Someone has a few tricks hidden up her sleeves. She looked at the screen. Is that a subterranean shelter? Oh, wow. She really does love her parents. And I hope she loves Sandra here too. Laura. Help me get them down. Look. There's water and towels. Clean them and dry them. I'm going to look for weapons. Sandra. Love. Love, where are you? Laraus. Wait here. Come up after me. Sandra's husband. Okay, Sandra, untie me already. Laraus. What is this? Tell me what we're covered in. Laraus. Blood. Yes. It's blood. Here. Take some water. Sandra. Did you headbutt me? Laraus. You know you can't beat me in a fist fight. Or with a weapon. Right? My parents will be in there. No one except me can open it. Sandra's husband. Okay, sister-in-law. Love, I'll take care of your parents. See you later. Laraus. Wait. No. Damn it. Sandra. What? Laraus. He took the damn keys. Sandra. Perfect. Now we have to kill Natasha. And that useless idiot. Teresa. Boring. Time to use the control panel. Let's see what fate has in store for them. Oh. And here it is. The reunion we've all been waiting for. Natasha. Finally. Aim and fire. Raoul. Raoul. But don't you remember there's someone following us? Natasha. I don't care. Shoot. Now. Sandra, look. There are weapons here. Laraus. Wait. Those black dots in the distance. Those and Natasha and Raoul. Sandra. Sandra, I can't tell. Look. Shoot. Laraus. Sandra. No. Teresa. Oh no. Why did they let their guard down? And that damn useless husband. I would have preferred it if he'd been the good one. Anyone but him. Laraus approaches from one side of the maze. Her weapon is ready. Natasha. This is for the time you humiliated me in front of Raoul. Natasha. I told you to keep running. Teresa. Oh my god. Is one of Laraus's dinosaurs eating her? Wait. No. That's her baby. Crunel. This is taking so many unexpected turns. Natasha. Teresa. Laraus is running toward Natasha. Natasha is running like the Flash. Oh. She's leading her straight toward her baby. What an obedient little thing. Oh no. I don't want to watch this. I think I'm going to throw up. Laraus. Get out of there. Teresa suddenly freezes. Well. Looks like we have a winner. Wait. No. That's impossible. I knew that muscular bastard couldn't die that easily. Let's check Natasha's team's cameras again. She rewinds the footage. When I moved the maze earlier, Laraus and Sandra ended up in the 5th row, right beside Natasha's elevated section. And the muscle-bound idiot, who had been lost, fell straight into Laraus's secret shelter. Teresa's expression changes. Oh no. What am I looking at? No. Tell me those images are fake. What the hell is that useless idiot doing? Sandra's husband. I really needed some fresh air. It was unbearably hot in there. The muscular man. Well. You're mine now, King. Natasha changed the path. But it was too late. When we checked the shelter, Sandra's husband was dead. My father protected my mother. He grabbed a weapon. After everything he had endured, he finally fired. At the same moment, he drove a stake into his opponent. Now only my mother and I remained. I helped her out. When we reached Teresa, it was time to deliver the lesson that would begin a long period of peace. The lesson, Laraus. I hope you all saw their lives. Natasha and everyone she brought with her suffered things they never should have experienced. But they could have acted differently. They could have repaired the damage. They could have chosen honor. They could have chosen justice. She looked toward the cameras. And now they've achieved what I denied them in those games. If my sister was forced to study where she never wanted to study, it was because of my manipulation. She stayed there. She tortured my friends. But she also became a mother, a wife, and a noble sister. Just like me. And if my father was once the commander of countless soldiers, he helped many people and sacrificed others. He fought against things most people would never dare to confront. His only mistake was accepting the extermination of my friends and enemy nations. And yet one day, he came home. And became a father and a husband. She paused. What I am governing now exists to prevent all of that from happening again. Natasha wanted a war in the name of God. She used my brother. She used all of you. And some of you know what mistakes we made. We've seen people who behaved obscenely and later changed because they chose to. Because free will is a decision. And I will never apologize for wanting a society free from religion and politics. Thank you for watching. And thank you, Teresa. Later this afternoon, we'll have a farewell ceremony for those who died. Teresa. Well, baby. It's time for me to go. Will you be alright? Larius. Yes. Go carefully. Teresa. Actually, I wanted to ask you something first. Larius. What? Teresa, where are Chewie and the others? Larius. They went home. They left all their equipment here. You have no idea how much that beautiful ship can hold. Teresa. Well, if it can fit an entire labyrinth and a giant dinosaur, it must be enormous. Larius, it is. Teresa. So you're taking care of this fortress all by yourself? Larius. What? You want a war? Teresa. No. The others never pay attention to the holograms. They look so real that nobody even wonders whether they're breathing. Larius. Yes. People ignore what doesn't matter to them. That's how my inhabitants are. Teresa. I'm amazed by the sections you've created here. Debates. Contests. There are artists everywhere. Larius. They don't cause much trouble. But they're still waiting for the debates to bring back what we had before. Teresa. Pure bullshit. They just don't know what else to do. Larius. I don't know. Some of them believe that without money, religion, and politics, humanity is finally evolving. With stronger values. And more educated minds. Teresa. And how long does that last? Larius. A month. Teresa. Impressive. Mine lasts a week at most. Look at these wrinkles. They caused every single one of them. I'm an old woman. Larius. When they die, it'll be time to press the button. Teresa. There's still time. Larius. Believe me. I take care of myself. And all these uncertain people keep me going. Teresa. Says the woman who makes us roll around in vomit. Larius. I had eaten too much that day. Forget it, Teresa, that day after we washed all the vomit off. It was magical. With Mara, Larius. You'll never forget her, will you? Teresa. She was the only one. Larius. I was starting to think you had fallen in love with me. Teresa. Enough. Get out of here with your ex-husband before I change my mind. Larius. Well, now you've ruined my curiosity. Teresa. David. We're leaving. David. No. Teresa. What do you mean, No? Don't make me yell at you. Come on, David. Ow. My ear. You're going to rip my ear off. Teresa. Bye, darling. We'll keep in touch. My supplies are almost gone anyway. Larius. Stay in contact. Goodbye. The years that followed, 1 week later, my mother died. Now there was no one left for me to turn to. So I cared for Emilio and Sandra's children. They became a little bandage over my heart. But the chakra inside me seemed to expand into darkness. At night, I could feel the emptiness growing. When they grew older, I attempted the unthinkable. But I couldn't do it. My body simply wouldn't allow it. Then, I saw Chewie again. Larius. Chewie. Larius. It isn't time yet. Please. Live. And I did. I watched them grow. I watched them grow old. I watched them die. Without drama, with love, and somehow, that hurt even more. My heart felt crushed. I no longer knew what my purpose was. But I remembered what my trusted Chewie had once told me. My cycle would end one day. Until then, I would keep watching. Prologue. Larius. If you dream of us, it's because we need you on the moon. Chief Larius. The singing and instrumental competitions are starting today. Yes. I'm coming. As I get ready for the competition, I remember a few words I can't quite recall. They sound distorted, as if someone has scrambled them inside my head. That was when I realized they had erased something from my mind, and somehow, something inside me was trying to remember what they themselves had manipulated. I have to admit, though, I'm excited at the thought of seeing them again. The problem is that I'll need professional equipment to travel into space. Specifically, to the moon. Even though everyone from village to village knew about them, nobody believed they were real. They said they were myths, or that the whole thing had been created by humans. I never thought of myself as an old woman, but people treated me like one. It wasn't terrible, but I didn't particularly enjoy being seen that way by the younger generations, although, to be honest, I always got along exceptionally well with the oldest ones. Lately, I've been feeling more tired. More like an old woman, even though I don't look like one. I have the feeling that this is connected to why they need me, to unlock whatever is buried inside my mind, whatever piece of this story I'm still missing. I need to know, I wrote an entire book about my life, yet nobody ever mentioned the things I once prohibited. And perhaps that was because this society had become so peaceful. People negotiated. Product for product. Artist for artist. Land was exchanged as gifts, even resources such as copper. Nobody fought with nuclear weapons anymore. Nobody fired missiles, weapons had been dismantled, and nobody extracted resources recklessly. And despite the magnificent beasts living among the villages, they had become part of everyday life. Dogs were no longer the only animals people kept as companions. They were prehistoric creatures. Creatures that had existed since the beginning of time. They were intimidating. Protective. Their existence eventually led to schools being created where people could learn to tame and train them for competitions, even technical combat competitions with protective equipment. Little by little, however, the practice began to disappear. Many considered it cruel. Others became completely fascinated by it. People like Yanina, Great Auntie, why don't you tell them to allow technical domestication competitions again? I just want to compete. And my layer runs faster than Jezreel's useless beast. You can bring it up during the replication panel, I know, but it would be much easier if someone with authority could just fix it. You know that wouldn't be ethical. I love you, but I have things to take care of. Problems that need solving. You mean the astronauts you're looking for? Yes. It's important. Please. You still believe they're on the moon? Yes, and you do too. No, I don't. I believed it when I was a child. I'm not a child anymore, Abuti. Well, then your Abuti is going to see the astronauts. I'm coming with you. You don't have to. For me, I do. You're my Abuti. As we walked together, a sudden pain struck my head. I heard a dull, distant noise, and then everything went black. When I woke up, my little great-niece looked old. Yanina? Is that you? Yes. I am. I thought you would never wake up. Well, I did. I have a present for you. What? What is it? A mirror. A mirror? Why? Look at yourself. I looked. You look about 40 now, Abuti. Oh. No. That can't be real. Is this some kind of witchcraft? If you don't know, I certainly don't, Abuti. Wait. You look different too, don't you? Yes. I'm pregnant. Oh, no. You're kidding. I had to be here for this. Who's the father? I'm going to be a single mother. Well, just as I expected. Don't you think so, little one? Yes. That's why I don't want you going anywhere anymore, wherever it is you keep disappearing to. What are you talking about? My body stayed right here, didn't it? I'm sorry, but... No, well, that explains why. With Chewy. Giving